You're listening to Common Sense and Beer, where we talk about heavy-hitting topics with a beer in hand. I'm your host, Kyle, and my co-host here,
Zach. And today we are tackling one of the heaviest hitting topics. We are joined here in the studio with our guest here. You want to shout yourself out, give your name, and anything else about yourself that you're comfortable with?
My name is Caleb, and I am a restaurant manager and also a host of my own podcast.
Yeah, what's
Very
that podcast called?
Kindling Conversations.
There you go. You know where to check it out. What are you on? You on Spotify?
Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker,
Cool.
bunch of different ones, YouTube.
Cool.
All of
Awesome.
right on.
Awesome. So you just starting that up then, or?
Yep, we're about 3 episodes deep. We'll have our 4th one coming up that we're recording and dropping on 2 days after New Year's. So
Cool. All right, man. Well, yeah, we're excited. We're excited about this topic. Obviously, a lot of people kind of stray away from this topic because there are so many polar opposite differences in this opinion. But we're interested to hear what you think. I think this is one of the ones where people will be interested to hear other people's opinions on. Maybe they haven't formed their own opinion, or maybe they are just looking for a different way to express their own opinion, but I'm looking forward to it. I think we do differ on this subject, but I'm looking forward to seeing where we can actually agree as well. And all of this in hopes that we can still have a beer afterwards. So.
absolutely.
And during. Don't forget
And
during.
during,
of
yes,
course.
yes,
The most important part.
yes. So, well,
Yeah, if you guys do decide to hash it out and like break some beer bottles, just take it outside for me.
Will do.
This is a safe space,
will do.
but if you want to fight, go outside.
Yeah.
So I can't throw him through the window?
you
It's
ain't
technically outside.
You're not throwing anyone through the window.
That's fair, because you don't go to the gym.
You just started. Don't start on me.
Hey, I started, Joey, what, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah,
Okay.
3 weeks ago, but you've been inconsistent.
Oh,
snap.
Called
Okay,
out.
snap.
Uh-oh.
Call me out, but hey, you know, it's more than I've been going.
That is
Hey,
a
you know what? That is, yes.
That's-
Going to the gym, even inconsistently, is better than not going to the gym at all.
Yep.
Fair.
Sure
Use
is. Sure is.
I'll drink to that.
Absolutely.
There you go.
I need to start again, too. But I do have a home gym kind of deal, so it's
Oh,
kind of,
there you go. That's better than what I have.
I have a, chin-up dip bar and a speed bike,
There you go.
spin bike, and a punching bag. That's about, you
That's
can get
more-
a lot done on that.
Like I said, that's more than I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's head right into it. So Caleb, like I said, I think we have a differing view on abortion, but let us know what you kind of, just an overall view, and then we'll just kind of get into our differences of opinion, why we don't agree on certain things.
Yeah, sure. So, excuse me. My view on abortion is, while morally, do I think it's wrong? Yeah. I mean, I am a Christian, right? So there I do have to say, yeah, I believe it's wrong, and I would never want someone I know to have one. But at the same time, from a standpoint of like politics and everything is concerned, I don't think the government has the right to kind of regulate that as much as we would want them to as Christians.
I thought you said we were going to differ on opinions here, but so far everything he's kind of saying, I'm right along with him. So far, I guess.
So when
Do
Zach,
you want to? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, when we had originally had this conversation, when Zach was kind of pitching the podcast to me, right, about a month and a half ago when you guys first started, I kind of gave Zach my opinion, and Zach said, hey, I have a different opinion, but maybe let's save that for the podcast. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So, no, I think this is going to be good because there's probably going to be things that when it comes to the government, stepping in and involvement, we're going to agree and disagree on things because, I don't, God-given rights. Government doesn't give you your rights.
Right.
That's kind of how I view it. I agree 100% that it's a huge moral issue, and I feel like in a morally just society, in a more Christian-based, morally just as a majority, abortion probably would be unheard of. It'd probably be unthinkable.
Yeah.
As almost like a great evil. Like,
And-
how dare you?
And if you don't mind, I'm going to take it back a few podcast episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Please.
That Joey was actually trying to make a point to you guys. You guys, I don't know if you guys just weren't understanding or you just weren't willing to listen to Joey. I don't know what it was.
It wasn't
Well,
that-
it is hard to listen to Joey.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that we
How
weren't.
can you not
Is
listen to
that-
that soft,
is
soothing
that-
voice?
So is that like a race thing or something like that? Or?
See what I'm
The
talking
see,
about?
yeah. It probably wasn't that we weren't. It wasn't that we weren't willing to listen. It probably is just either we didn't understand it or we were kind of stuck in our.
Sure.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
But I can't remember exactly the podcast, and I can't remember the exact context of the conversation.
Fatherless
but
Homes.
Was it Fatherless Homes?
Fatherless Homes. We first talked about new Speaker of the House.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys were kind of talking about, and that just reminded me. You guys were talking about how, you saw no problem with the new speaker kind of, outing, saying like the laws he wants to make are going to be Christian based and everything like that. Whereas in the First Amendment, we have the freedom of religion, right?
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I guess let me just ask you a question, right?
Please.
Just because I don't know what your stance on abortion is necessarily,
Okay.
but I have a feeling I know where you would want abortion to be at, right? Knowing who you are and everything.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
We are, we've talked a lot,
Yeah.
and that is, if I were to have, if my religion were not Christianity, right, and it were a different religion, right,
Mm-hmm.
and in that religion, abortion was kind of expected because, let's just say population control or whatever, right? Like kids were just not a thing in that religion.
Right.
Why can't I practice my religion?
You can.
Yeah, I'd say you can.
You
but
look here. This is the way I like to break it down. Okay, and we should have expanded more on that in that episode. I definitely agree. What is a politician's job ultimately? It's to make sure that he's representing the people that voted for them, right?
Oh, like the real job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the real
The
yeah.
real job. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the real job is to represent those that voted for him. They voted for him. People voted for him. I don't think it was in the dark that this man was a devout Christian, and I don't think it was in the dark that he wanted to enact policies that were Christian values. And so I don't think that it's bad for him to say that when he's representing the people that voted for him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so if you, for instance, if you had a religion that supported abortion or that it was something that was expected, if the constituents that voted you in expected that, then that should be expected of you, because ultimately that's your job, is to represent your.
So let me make this argument then before Caleb continues. He was in Louisiana, sure, that's fine. However, he's now the Speaker of the House. Not everyone inside the United States voted for him.
Right.
Right.
The representatives of each area of the House are what votes him in, of the Republican side mostly.
Who votes those in?
But what I'm saying is that not every single area is Christianity based.
Right.
So
And I get that.
what you're getting at, what you're trying to say is that it's, if we're talking about in that level, but then these other individuals that voted him in aren't doing that. So how can you say that?
And to another point too is that, sure, well, you have to do what your constituents want, right? If my constituents want to legalize murder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? But also, when you take that oath of office, of whatever office, you are also taking an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States.
Sure. Yeah, and again, that's where the freedom of religion comes into play. You know, if this man wants to practice religion, and if he really thinks that the morals that he has are the best thing for the country, if he is voted in, then I don't see a problem with his views. I put it this way: I think that if you wanted to run as somebody who wanted to legalize murder, one, I don't think you'd get many votes.
Well, no, but
Right.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Right. Well, yeah, today you never know, I suppose.
Well, it'd be the question more of like, hey, I'm on the grounds of I want to do this, and then I do a flip of 180 after I'm in.
Well, that's
that's
I
true,
mean, that's
too.
hopeful on what impeachment type procedures at that point.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't.
Like that.
Yeah, and I see what you're getting. I genuinely see your point. And
He's just saying you have a bad one.
No,
Well-
I see both of your points, and I'll reiterate it too. And I kind of agree with Zach what he was just saying. It's like if he got, voted in the area he was at, and these were the things he was saying, and the people voted for him, they liked him, the majority liked him, and I'm sure he was saying these things. Now, if he pulls the 180 card, what then somebody just get kicked out of Congress for doing that? George Santos or whatever his name was. Someone just got kicked out for doing just that. So there's a process for all these things. Now, I think what it comes down to is we come to the sense that like the society is sticking to that Christian morality that like the United States was founded upon, or at least more loosely based on a Christian worldview than any other, religion worldview. What we're finding, I think, as the future goes and the melting pot expands, is that a lot of these religions, they're not really. It's almost like they're not compatible with the already based foundation of our Constitution and our society. So when these things happen, I guess it's kind of it just like the Ilhan Omar, instances of
Sure.
taking over and doing all these like I guess she's not necessarily behind the pro-Palestinian movement thing that's going on right now, where they're blocking all the airports and whatever else. But just on these types of laws of like the Sharia law type things based on their religion, I would freak out, and I could see someone on their side also doing the freak out movement. If someone comes in saying they're going to base laws based on Christianity, and they're coming from a Muslim base, and it's like, well, I thought we were free to practice our religion here in this country. That's what it was all about. Maybe that's why they came here. Who knows? But I don't know if I'm just talking in circles, but I just feel like it's I can see the other side, I guess.
yeah,
Kind of coming from that like religion extremism point, but at the same time, it's like, you can't ban our politicians from being religious practitioners either.
yeah, and I think what Caleb and Joey are both trying to say too is that what they're trying to say is that you can't just go into a place of political office and say, well, the Bible says this, so you need to do this, right? That's what I'm getting, right?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah. So, and I don't think that's happening, right?
I don't think that's what his intention was.
Well, and I don't think he's actively doing that. I think what's happening is he's professing that, these are Christian morals that I believe in and I believe my constituents believe in. Therefore, we're going to try to make them law. But see, again, these laws still have to go through several different layers, right? And if it's something that's too extreme, which I'll be the first one to say, if it's something too extreme, I'm trying to think of an example now based on biblical senses, what would be an extreme law for the U.S.? Well, I mean, here's one: practicing any other religion besides Christianity. If he stood up and said, "No, everyone needs to practice Christianity in this country because that's what this country was founded on, so everyone is going to be,"
Yeah, I'd be against that.
then yeah, I'm totally against that. But things like, murder, abortion, those things, I don't see a problem with those being law.
so
So,
I would disagree with you.
Okay.
Murder, of course, like I totally understand where you're coming from as far as like
Yeah.
that, But like when you get into the nitty gritty picky things, I feel like you have to play that sound now.
That was good.
I don't have it yet. But
Dang it, Joey.
I couldn't find the audio.
that's all right. That's all right. We cracked a beer. Now he's going to sound clip that.
No, as I was saying, I feel like if we get into this nitty gritty and pick out pieces, right? Where do we end? First of all,
Sure.
but
Yeah. Where do
second
you
of
draw
all-
the line?
Yeah, where's that line? Like, abortion is, while it's a heavy hitting topic these days,
Mhm.
right? And just because there's so many different viewpoints on it, I feel like because there's so many different viewpoints on it, why does the government get to come in and just say, yeah, no? Because you as a Christian can practice that is not okay, right? If the government says like, hey, abortions are legal and they're okay, then at some point, you as a Christian, it's up to you to say, hey, I don't believe that is okay, so let's not do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
So-
that throwback to individual responsibility.
Right.
Yeah.
at that point,
Because you do that right already with your kids, right? You're trying to instill in them
Yeah.
that Christian value, right?
Yeah.
And so while murder is outlawed, right? And I'm just going to bring that up, right? Because I mean that just moralistically we know that murder is not cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to that like abortion where it really is like I would say 99% of people agree that murder is immoral.
Okay.
At least in America, right?
How many? Oh, go ahead.
But when it comes to abortion, I mean, you really are pretty split and pretty divided. And at that point, I think it is the individual responsibility of saying,
Sure.
hey, that's
So
not okay in my religion.
So then let me ask you this: what do you
Hold
think
on.
the percentage?
Real quick.
Yeah.
Did you ever give your view on abortion, like full on give
No,
your view on
and
abortion?
I will do that now. I'm going to do it in kind of a rebuttal to what you just said,
Sure.
if that's okay.
Sure.
So, how many? So you said 99%, which I agree with. 99% of people would agree that murder is wrong.
Shall we find the stat?
Yeah,
That's another one that I hope it's pretty close to. 100.
yeah. But I would agree that a vast majority of people agree that murder is wrong. Right? How many people would you say? Think abortion is wrong? I mean, 50-50, somewhere close around.
I think that one's a harder one to get.
The only reason
that
I
one
ask-
would be a Joey find the stat for.
It's not
if you even
necessary.
could. No,
I
know,
have it
I'm-
already.
Oh,
Okay.
you do.
Well-
U.S. adults are pro-choice, 52%, pro-life, 44%.
Okay,
And that's
so
about what I was going
right
to say
at-
about 50-50.
Yeah. Okay. So
And
the point.
4% no opinion.
Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is that I think those numbers should be exactly the same. I think the number of people that disagree with murder should disagree with abortion. Because I truly believe that abortion is murder. Because it's ending a human life.
And I want to support Zach's belief that because it is murder.
Yeah, and well, here's the thing. So most of the time when you talk about pro-choice and pro-life, the main thing that is talked about is when life begins. Right?
Sure.
Inside the womb. When does human life begin?
Sure.
Okay. If you believe here's my thought on what you are saying. I 100% understand your thought process on what you're saying. And to a certain extent on other issues, I agree with you that the government, even though some things I think are wrong, I don't think that the government should step in. But this is one of those where I accept that the government has to have laws in place in order to keep a status quo among the people. A status quo isn't the right word. To keep order among the people.
I disagree. Are you saying then that there are people that are always above you and people that are always below?
Not necessarily. No.
That's kinda what
Status
you're
quo.
getting at.
Status quo was the wrong word. Status quo. Status
He
quo was
stepped
the
in it
wrong
with
word.
that word.
Yeah. What I mean by that is that there needs to be some sort of entity that comes up with laws for the country, for people to abide by. And I think murder is definitely within the scope of the government's reach to limit. And if I believe the problem that I have with your argument is it's a little bit circulatory in that you can't have one without the other. If you have you have the moral version of it where you think it's murder, or where you think it's killing another life. And put it this way, the way I look at it is if if you're okay with killing a life, even if it's the tiniest thing that you have to look at a microscope, if you believe that it's human life, then you have to accept that murder to some degree should be legal.
So
That's where I believe. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I believe that human life completely starts instantly
at conception. Okay, and I'll get back to a rebut with that, Kyle. I think we're kind of like, what the hell are your beliefs? Because you said you agree with Zach, but then at the beginning of the podcast, when I gave my opinion, you said I agree with that. So,
Yeah, well-
where's your standpoint?
So I believe that it's a mostly moral issue. I believe that the government should have zero involvement at all in it, except for the fact that they already have you go to jail if you murder someone. So doctors, if they commit abortion or perform the medical procedure of abortion, it's an act of murder. That's just the way I view it. We already have something on the books for it. I view that it should, it is what it is. I don't think it necessarily needs to be made legal or illegal because it already is illegal, if that makes sense, in like the way I'm viewing it, because it is murder. So it's,
Okay.
But yes, I absolutely think that our rights are God-given and that the government shouldn't be able to step in and kind of regulate those rights. I think personally with the Roe v. Wade's, whole decision, which kind of made everything pretty, crazy in the country a little bit when it came to the topic of abortion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to say that, I think that at first I thought it absolutely should be returned to the state's laws, but then it's just like, and then I kind of had that rebuttal thought of where I just kind of circled back to of like, but we already have laws for it. It's murder. It's illegal.
Right.
But I think that the moral problem is more of a cultural problem that's kind of the rot that
100%. And I think Caleb would agree with that too.
Yeah.
The amount of abortions happening now versus say how many years ago,
20 years ago.
I think we could attribute that to what Kyle is saying. The decline of society.
right.
Joey, can you pull something up for me on the computer? And I'm going to ask it in a question to Zach.
Okay.
And Kyle.
Yeah.
If you say it's murder, right?
Yep.
At what point can I take that baby out of the womb and that baby actually have a chance of survival?
It's
Hold-
not
well,
that.
What are you asking me to?
It's
So I want to know,
how
like,
long
at
can the
what
baby survive
stage?
outside
At
of
what
the womb?
stage outside of the womb can a baby actually survive?
It's
Yeah,
actually surprising because it's not that.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that the argument that you're trying to make is that the fetus has to be viable outside of the womb, right?
Right. Like, I'm not saying I support late term abortion too, right?
Right.
And I want
Right.
to point that out, right? Like, at a late point, like, if that baby has a chance of living, right? Like, especially late in the third trimester,
Yeah.
that baby has an actual chance with, medical intervention to survive outside of the womb. And that at that point is a living human being.
I'm gonna, interject one.
Sure.
Your answer you're looking for. When is a fetal viable? In simple terms, fetal viability refers to the ability for a baby to survive outside of the womb. During the first trimester, viability often determined by the presence of a heartbeat on an ultrasound. Generally, a baby can survive outside the womb at around 22 weeks.
Yeah, it's not much.
So I don't think that this holds. I don't think that question and the point that you're making with it holds any weight. And here's why. Okay. As far as viability outside of the womb, or in other words, non-dependency on the mother, right?
Yeah.
On the mother's body.
Yeah.
The problem with that argument is that you could make the same argument about any advanced stage Alzheimer's patient who can't do anything without help from another person.
Why not kill him?
But
Well,
Babies.
in Canada they can.
once you have that baby is reliant on you to feed it, to change its diaper.
That's my point.
And
So if
that's-
it's still reliant on their parent, then why can't you kill it when it's outside of the womb? You see what I'm saying? Just because it needs its mother to survive does not make it any less of a human life. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah. So I
but-
think the whole viability argument it just doesn't hold weight because again, then you have to consider anybody else who is fully reliant on another person. You have to say, well, we can take them out too.
There's a difference between, in my opinion, right, between being fully reliant on somebody as far as needing to be changed and all of that. Because, I mean, that is a baby, right?
Sure.
But then the difference being where you're not, I gotta choose my words wisely here. You're not, you're literally relying on the mother's breath,
Okay.
right, to keep you alive.
What about someone on life support who literally needs tubes put
Pull
into
the
them? I mean, really?
Well, those are also questions that are asked to the family members, not.
Yeah. And as far as that is concerned, right, I would say that one's a tough one, right? Because, like, if I think about this, you know, as it's my dad, right, like, they're going to ask us, like, what do we want, right?
Right.
And so that'd be a tough decision, right? But, like, at the same time, give me the chances that you come off life support. If there is a 20% chance or less, well, yes, I want that 20% chance. At the same time, what quality of life is going to happen afterwards?
So it's the hope for life afterwards,
So
right?
let me ask you guys this question.
I see where you're
then.
getting with that.
If it's the hope for life afterwards, again, that argument holds no weight to the abortion argument.
No, right. And what I'm saying is,
Because you said, I mean, you said, what are their chances afterwards of pulling out of it? And it's like, okay,
right,
it doesn't.
and what I'm saying is, like, what kind of a life would it be after? Is it going to be someone that's just staring blankly at the ceiling all the time and can't speak and all of that?
So if
right?
you're
Like,
so if someone comes off life support and they're basically a vegetable, are we just allowed to take them out?
Well, let me
no.
Well, let me ask you guys this question. Then. Going back and not talking about
Yeah,
life
Joey.
support, going back about abortion. So I pulled up an article from Pew Research, right, and it says that the actual gap between legal and illegal for abortion, 61 leaning towards it being legal, 37% towards illegal. So the question that I have is that, is it cut and dry for you? So is all abortion should be illegal? Or any
Oh, the
abortions
nuance of it.
can
All
be
Okay.
can be
So
legal.
I had actually was talking a little bit with my wife before we came out because she's got a. I mean,
Because
she's
should there be exceptions?
well, right. So she's a one issue voter. I mean, type of person, and she just can't get past the fact that I mean she's pro life, 100%.
sounds like you should have brought her on too.
Right. So I mean, she's yeah, right. She brought up the point because she hates even the idea of like the Plan B pill, like birth control. She doesn't like any of that stuff. Very Catholic. So, we had this conversation basically because I have the nuance of because there's always that conversation of that, you know, what about rape and incest cases? First of all, incest cases are rape cases. Otherwise, it's acceptable, you
Okay.
know, in my
point.
opinion. So we'll just the rape cases. A rape happens, you should go to the hospital. I mean, you would imagine that should be the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Within a couple hours, you do the police report. All these things happen. As part of that rape kit should be the offering of a Plan B pill. I fully support that. I think in that situation, that case, it should be part of the medical procedure,
But,
part of the package, if you will.
I just want to interject one portion real quick about that topic, right? So, if we're talking about abusing the powers of like a rape thing, should there not be a charge also associated? Like, hey, you have to file a report with the police department in order to do this.
Like a
You-
charge if you don't.
No, like you got raped, right? Now you're going to the hospital to get your Plan B because you got raped. Should there not
Well,
be also because you're talking about
okay.
abusing of power to where a woman can just go, oh no, I got raped, so I'm gonna go use this Plan B, right? So should there not be an also formal charge?
There should be absolutely. There already is. If you just go in there and say, you know, what is it? If you accuse someone of something that they didn't do, that's already a crime.
No, I'm not talking about accusing someone that they didn't do. What I'm saying is that there must be a formal police report that goes on file for when I go into there and say I got raped, I don't want this child, delete it from my system. So then you have to file a police report for that. So
You're
so
right,
that
Joe.
way
I
you're
guess I'm just
dropping.
assuming that when a woman gets raped that she calls the police.
But they don't.
They don't. Though,
I guess they don't.
Do you know how
I
many
would-
people
Do you know
that
the-
don't?
Want
You-
them to. I think
do you know
maybe
the
that's another
microscope
cultural
that-
rot.
The microscope that puts them under at that point, and some don't want that.
Well, let me
And-
ask this then, because we talk about, okay, anytime abortion comes up too, this always comes up, which is, rape, incest, all these things. Okay. First of all, a majority of the abortions, a vast majority, and I can look it up. I can give you a link, Joe, if you need it, but a vast majority of the abortions that happen in this country are not because of that. I mean, a vast majority. We're talking
Sure.
like
They're elective.
right.
Yeah.
And the other point that I'd like to say about the rape and incest and all that is, would you change your mind on the issue of abortion? If those exceptions were made, would you change your overall belief on abortion?
As far as if abortion was illegal,
Correct.
but except for in cases of rape and
Correct. Would
incest.
would you completely concede that that abortion
No.
should be okay? So then why bring it up? It doesn't matter.
I didn't bring it up.
Okay, fair.
That was Kyle.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it doesn't need to be brought up because that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about making an optional abortion, the option available.
Right. The that's because man, there was always a term they used. Was it safe and something?
I don't know.
I don't know. There was a term that they used to use all the time, and it was basically to cover the whole rape and incest deal.
Yeah.
But my whole point in bringing it up was that the Plan B pill itself, if the pregnancy actually does happen, the baby can be super deformed after taking the Plan B pill. So it could have one arm, for instance, and my wife kind of brings up that conversation of like she doesn't think it should be done because the baby might come out deformed if it doesn't stop the process from happening.
Sure.
And my whole argument for that is kind of to play off of Zach's argument of like, but isn't to live, at all to be better to not be living at all,
Right.
Not
Let
necessarily.
me-
Well, we
Let
talked
me-
about the
well-
hope for life afterwards.
Zach,
Right. That's kind of where I'm going at.
with the besides rape and incest, let's also ask the question of cases of mortality amongst the women. So,
Right.
See,
like,
that's-
whose
That's
life do
another
you
one.
choose?
That's another
right?
one that's brought up.
So, like,
Yeah,
if
it's not-
the woman's life is in danger, do you choose to have the kid and then potentially sacrifice the mom, or do you have the abortion to where you can still have your wife, or that the kid is going to come out with problems, and I mean detrimental problems that he's going to be not necessarily it's going to it's going to cost me the rest of my life to have this kid because he's have problems, but like, do you not want to have the best chance for a child?
I think the best chance, and I see what you're getting at, but I think the best chance for any child is to let it live.
And I think the best chance for any child is the love of its parents too. So
Correct.
I mean, whatever
Sure.
the
So let me ask this then. If the best chance for a child is the love of parents, what if the mother and father really don't want that child? Like really don't want that
Well-
child. So what do you do at that point?
I mean, condoms.
No, I know, but there's all
Abortion.
It's not 100%,
Not abortion.
right?
Not abortion.
control.
Adoption.
Adoption,
What is
really.
what is 100%?
So are
If
you
you
are
have-
you gonna
Hold
adopt
on.
are you gonna adopt a
Hold
child
on.
then, Zach, or what?
Hold on. I want to make sure I understand the question right before I go
I do
further.
believe you, based on your answer, yes, you know my question.
No. I don't want to get ahead of you. No, the question I heard was, what if a mother and a father that are
Yes.
expecting, what if they don't want their child that they are having? It was an unexpected pregnancy.
Yeah, you kind of
Between-
didn't work, birth control didn't work. Or
Sure,
Really,
sure.
the two,
Right.
they both didn't work.
Right. Adoption, I think, is the best case.
Okay, but we're already flooded with foster children and homeless kids or orphans, right? And
How many kids? Do you know how many kids?
113,589.
What?
orphans.
Orphans?
Foster care,
In
How many
foster-
kids
how
are
many
in foster-
orphans?
waiting to be adopted.
Okay. And how
And-
many are adopted every year? I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for that, I do
Hold
have
on,
a
he's got it.
18,000.
18,000 against the 100 and how many ever thousand?
2,000 that are in foster care.
So of
waiting
those,
abortion.
so of those 18,000,
I said waiting for abortion. I meant waiting to be adopted.
They're just looking at their ticket like, oh man, my time's coming up. Crap, this is gonna suck.
no, there's 18,000 kids that are adopted out of that same system, and I think that every
What do you
kid.
do with the other 110?
I think that every kid should be given the same chance as those 18,000. That's my point.
So go adopt a kid.
Okay, I could.
So why don't you?
I can make my own.
Sure.
I don't.
But- But
Well,
but
you're
what
you're
you're
talking
saying-
about a problem with abortion, and yet you're not willing to solve the problem
Yeah.
either.
That's what I'm getting at. Is yeah, sure, you can make your own, but you just saw that there's estimate 108, 110,000
Sure.
deficit of
Sure.
kids being actually adopted.
Sure.
Why not help solve the problem?
Because I don't think that that's necessarily
Yeah.
my responsibility.
I think it's weird too that
So then
help
why
solve
is
the
it-
problem is considered killing
well, if
children.
we're talking about society's problem, are you
But
not
s-
part of society?
Oh, sure. I get
So
what you're saying.
We should just
This
keep
also-
adding to the
sorry.
problem.
To stop real quick, but it's this
Sorry.
statistic says that it's 391,000 are in children foster care in the United States.
Okay.
So it's higher.
Again,
Yeah, but isn't foster care with people? Like, what do you mean? That's
So
like,
yeah, foster
it
care is with
adoption,
some.
kinda.
However, Joey,
yeah, but they're
I'd be interested
aren't
to
they
know,
aren't
like-
they fully dependent on their foster parents?
they are. But
If they're fully dependent on their foster parents, just like a fetus is fully
Right,
dependent on their
right.
mother,
but
Oh,
the
so we
foster
just
care
kill the
system
orphans?
is kind of.
that's kind of the point I'm getting to.
I have to choose my word wisely here since we're PG-13. But foster care system is also a very
Monetized program.
monetized, and I'm just gonna say it's a fucked up program.
That's our one.
That's our one.
That's our one for the PG-13 audience.
We should
That's-
reserve that for just our guests.
You get one.
It is right. So like, if
It's
you
a messed
hear
up
about
system.
if you hear about
It is.
the number of problems of rape in the foster care system,
Okay.
and everything, you really want to subject a child to that, because what quality of life is
I
that
don't-
child gonna have?
Right, but I don't think that I am held responsible for someone else's wrongdoing.
Well, listen, we don't want anybody
So,
to
well-
live in those situations. We really want is
Let-
listen, Joe. The cultural decay of this nation, of everything, is what led us to these are band-aids. These are crappy solutions to crappy problems that we've found ourselves in because we're too lazy and gluttonous and sinful. I mean, it all comes down to a lack of religion in people, and a lot of these problems would not exist if it weren't for the decay over time of people.
well,
Zach,
you're not going to
real
get away
fast,
from
Zach.
that, Kyle, because it's. I mean, we're the world that we're living in is the product of a sin fallen world. So we're not going to be able to get away from that. The best we can do at this point is just try to make things a little bit better.
Zach, let me ask you this. You say it's not your problem, right?
I didn't say it's not my problem.
Well,
I said
let's say your neighbor has a problem. Do you not go help your neighbor?
No.
No, you're just like, oh fuck them. What
No.
if,
Well,
and
what's the
then-
problem?
Oh,
I gotta chop
that was
that
the
one.
second one. No, no. I see the point you're getting at, but again,
where did our sense of community go? Because
Again-
like in the 1800s, we were all about community. Everyone had to watch for
in the
I'll
themselves.
revert back to
1800s
my
too.
decay of societal rot.
Well, no. If you rewind the tape, I said I'm not responsible for someone else's wrongdoing.
Yes, but in the 1800s, it was your also responsibility to help your fellow community because they're not going to help you when it comes to that point.
Correct, and I think the best way to help for things like that is to make sure that people are held accountable for when they do the things that they do wrong. I don't think I'm responsible for adopting a child. If I have, look, here's the thing.
But your
if I have,
solution to abortion, right, instead of by outlawing it, is have the kid just throw it up for adoption. But
yeah.
you're not willing to be a
No,
part of
you're missing
solution.
the biggest part of this. You're missing the biggest part of this. The reason I say put them up for adoption is because at least they are given a chance for life.
A very slim chance. Well,
No,
life, sure,
uh.
but a very slim chance of a meaningful life.
Meaningful,
Possibly.
possibly. You can't say that. If you were to have a
Better
kid,
than dead.
if you were, yes, exactly. If you were to have a kid tomorrow, okay, let's say you didn't have the financial stability to take care of it yourself, and so you put it up for adoption, okay, because you think it would have a better life somewhere else, right? You see where I'm going with this?
I mean,
So here's my thing. Here's my thing. A chance at any sort of life is better than no chance at a life at all. That's my point.
Yeah, what I'm also saying is that you have to have willing individuals that are doing it. But then if you're,
And there are.
Well, no, if you're also
Joey.
saying that you found the problem and you're not willing to solve it, that's
Joey.
still a problem.
I would also like to know if there's a statistic of children that live in foster care versus orphanages.
It's still not going to change my mind.
How many
This
orphanages
podcast is not about changing minds.
change my mind.
It's,
No,
it's
fair
about,
enough.
it's
Yeah,
about
I mean-
viewing the opinions, right?
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean,
I'm still having a beer afterwards.
yeah.
And during, don't forget.
And during, I just cracked another one open.
Oh, there you go.
No, I don't. Again, that wouldn't necessarily change my mind. And I know that's not the purpose here. I
Right,
know that's
right.
not the purpose here. But that wouldn't necessarily change my mind because, again, for me, it all boils down to the chance of life afterwards.
Sure.
Do you guys both know why like Planned Parenthood and like the big push on abortion was even founded?
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
don't. So
What's
if you
her
wanna
name?
enlighten me.
What's her name? Margaret.
Margaret Sanger.
Margaret Sanger. Yeah, you like this. Go ahead.
She's
go ahead, Kyle.
basically Hitler's prodigy. Like,
You can look this up.
yeah, Joe. She's just evil person.
No, she.
But basically, she was a racist. I think she was a white supremacist as well, like full on white supremacist, racist. Literally, I think the whole point of Planned Parenthood was to kill black babies. Was to
Just
have
minorities.
It was to have minorities cull themselves.
That's why most Planned Parenthood places set up shop in less wealthy places.
That and
That's why they started.
We were not well off when we first had our first child, and we went to Planned Parenthood because we needed to prove with the state for benefits and whatever else we were on that train. But we were all about, we're like, they needed a test and it had to be done by like an official source. So we went to a Planned Parenthood, and the news that it was positive, dude, they came out like, oh, it was positive. So, what options have you guys been looking? Like, honestly, it was like weird. It's like, no, we want it. And it's like, it was weird that we were even there. It's like, oh, you want it? Like,
Yeah, but I
what
feel
are
like
you doing
Planned
here?
Parenthood, like what it started out as and what it is today, has changed a little bit.
Nope, I don't.
You don't. I'm not
Maybe
saying
there's
that-
some
but
other
they
programs peppered in.
They've had some other programs come up in Planned Parenthood where, there is, help for a mother, an expecting mother that
Yeah.
doesn't have benefits. Like they can go in there completely free
That's what we
and
thought.
confidential.
That would be WIC.
Correct. That's not
That's
Planned
actually
Parent- yeah.
WIC that does all of that.
Well, in
good
Wisconsin,
stuff.
yeah,
Well,
it's WIC.
right in Wisconsin, but every state has its version of that, and they're amazing. They sent a nurse, and they were all cool, and they kind of like helped us out with all the insurance benefits you can get with having a kid, and just all these things we had no clue about.
Sort of the ads for Planned Parenthood that I've been seeing a quote complete and total lie.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
I just feel like they use like that kind of psychological manipulation to get people to think it's something. Because Planned Parenthood, I mean, that doesn't sound bad, right?
No.
I mean, it already sounds like something that's like, well, yeah, I mean, that's you're getting your family going.
Yeah.
Maybe let's look at what Planned Parenthood has to offer, what programs they've got going, or whatever else. And it's not something that should come off as something so evil, but it's almost weird. It's like that's kind of their main purpose is just to cull babies. And I feel like she was that's the word I was thinking of. Besides being like Hitler's prodigy, Margaret Sanger was a huge eugenicist.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's what it was. So I mean,
Google define euthanagists or whatever it was
Yeah.
he just said.
ask Alexa.
Eugenicist.
Joe, why don't you have an Alexa in here? There's
He does have a Google.
There it is.
Ask it a question.
Okay, Google.
You didn't ask it a question. You just said, okay, Google.
But it's got to say like, doo-doo.
No, it's
No,
just
it's lit up.
as
Oh, it
soon as
did
the
light up.
button,
Okay.
as soon as the buttons light up, it'll.
Okay, Google, what is a eugenicist?
According to Wikipedia, eugenics is a set of beliefs and practices that aim to improve the genetic quality of a human population. Historically, eugenicists have attempted to alter human gene pools by excluding people in groups judged to be inferior or promoting those judged to be superior.
Yeah.
You know, at first it's like, oh, that doesn't sound bad, and then it goes into like historic. It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like what?
Yep.
I
Yep.
really hope someone has a Google that listens to that. So now it also gives
Yeah,
them
it gets them.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah.
So, this is worldwide. I just want to put this into perspective. I don't know. I could probably find it for the United States. However, worldwide, we're talking about 400,000 people in kids in the foster care system. There have been 44 million abortions this year worldwide, and it's still ticking.
right.
Let's just say, in a
That's a weird thing to keep track of.
yeah, let's throw a number out there just for the United States. It's probably, if I had to just put a number out there, maybe 800,000.
You know what a cool one to pull up is how many abortions happened prior to Roe v. Wade being overturned back to the states, and then post Roe v. Wade being overturned back to the states, like the year difference there.
I can try and find it, but we're talking, even if there's 800,000, we're talking about 800,000 more individuals in the care system that we've already known as
And
having difficulties.
what I'll say about that too is even if there's 800,000 that were aborted, and even if we say half of those that were not placed in foster care, and you know, would you want to add 400,000 though still to that number of?
Yep. Sure would. If they're given a chance at life, absolutely. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I'm
Doesn't
kinda
matter the
being
quality of life that they have, whether it's in the foster system or within a let's say a household where the mom and dad don't get along so well, or even a fatherless household. Because I 100% agree that fatherless households are a terrible thing.
Oh,
that a
so you
kid
want
has
more
to
school
live through.
shooters?
It's not what that.
That's
correlates
exactly what
to at
you
all.
said.
No, it's
You said
not.
you wanted more
it's
fatherless
not.
homes.
Oh, Joe.
That's
It's
not
just-
what
it's
we're
called
You
a-
saying.
can't correlate
it's called-
100% someone
It's called
like
a
that.
straw man argument,
Yeah,
and I
we
chose
don't. We
it.
don't like it. We don't like those. Get them out of here.
I like those.
No, I think again, and maybe this comes off harsh to some, but I think regardless of look, I think we've all. Do you know somebody who went through the foster system that actually succeeded? Do you personally know anyone? Maybe not.
That has succeeded?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, but can you say that there's probably a lot of people from the foster system that have come up and been successful, or at least productive
sure,
parts of
depending
society?
on what your definition of a lot is.
Okay. Regardless, there is a certain number of people that have gone through the foster
And I
system.
think there is a bigger percent of people that
Right. So
Don't.
what I'm saying though is they were given.
foster
Oh,
care.
look at
Eddie
that.
Murphy, Colin Kaepernick, Steve Jobs, John Lennon, Marilyn Monroe, James Dean, Willie Nelson, Ice-T, Louis Armstrong, Cher, Alonzo Mourning, to name
Ooh.
a few.
Man, that was a bad list. All those people have issues.
That's a lot. Yeah.
So, but it
But
also
in terms of the number of people in foster care, that's really not a lot.
yeah, but
And you named off just a few people that
But
everybody
share.
that are household
sure.
names.
But let me also interject though. But you're
But
talking
share.
about you're talking about adding however many more individuals. Where I talked about people that are in the foster care, and you're talking about you're not willing to help the problem. How many more Americans are also saying they're not willing to help as well?
I'm not saying
Oh,
I'm not.
I
I'm not.
would agree there a lot.
I'm not saying that I'm not willing to help these systems. What I'm saying is I shouldn't be held responsible for all of this
For systems
myself.
that were put in place, not
Correct.
by us in the
I don't-
first place, creating the issues that these
Right.
other systems were put into place.
That's like saying that I should personally be held accountable for every murderer out there because I'm a human and I
And
don't want to
slavery.
lose.
Don't forget slavery.
Right. That's
you're white.
Well,
You
I'm
are
not.
accountable
I'm
for
not
slavery.
asking. I'm not asking you to be held.
that's another subject.
That's another hard hitting topic.
I'm not asking you to be held accountable. But what you're saying is that, like I said, my point is that you found an issue in the problem, but you're not willing to fix the
But
problem.
I haven't found an issue.
Yeah,
though.
what are you talking about? What issue?
Because-
I think we're so far removed because you said it a bunch now. But what was the original issue? Was it just the fact that he said adoption should be an answer to the people that don't want to have the child?
He's saying it is the answer, but he's not willing to adopt though either to help
Oh.
mitigate.
And I'm
a
not talking
problem.
about specifically just you. What I'm saying is
I get it.
there are at least 810,000 people just like you,
Right.
because that's how many people are still in foster care.
I
So-
think that any child in foster care is given a better chance at life than an aborted fetus. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I wish they weren't in some sort of weird run institution where horrible things could happen to them. In that
And
even
do
in that
happen.
situation, I really wish that wasn't the case. But I wish a lot of things. You know,
If we use that argument, bad things happen to
Yeah.
good people, then no one would ever have a child. That's kind of my point too. I mean, on one of the episodes, we brought up
It was me.
on
Stop.
one of on one of the episodes we brought up how oh, dang it, now I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
It was a bad train anyway.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Everything you say is bad. Train.
Yeah. So I've been told. No, but I think that a chance at life is better than no chance at all. Regardless of the situation that they are brought up in, I think people can still, though a child that's brought up in foster care, I mean, we just named some. Granted, yes, you're right. It's not, the names that were just listed off does not make up a culpable number compared to the number of kids in foster
Yeah.
system right now.
The sample size of 6 names
Right.
does not really.
But at the end of the day, the fact that any of those people were given chances and they went through the foster system tells me that, well, the foster system is better
Did they
than
go
no
through the
life
foster
at all.
system, or were they adopted? Because there is a difference, in my opinion.
Sure. Either way, it doesn't much matter to me. It
Sure.
doesn't matter.
And it does
Because-
to me.
Okay. Okay. Well, so if that matters to you, then where do you, when you have a child, okay, I think Kyle can attest to this. When you have a child, the amount of uncertainty that goes through your mind when you are given the news that you are having a child in 8 months, the number of things that go through your head, some are good, some aren't. You know, there's a lot of angst, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of how am I going to adjust my life,
Yeah.
you know, to take care of this thing, this other human being. How am I going to do this? I have a hard time taking care of a plant, let alone a baby, you know. It's stuff like that. I think that it is way too easy nowadays for people to just say, yank it out of me. You know what I mean? I just that's the way I look at it.
Yank it out of me.
You know what I'm saying, Kyle.
I don't know if I do.
So this statistic that I've pulled up, this is number of abortions in thousands. It has actually decreased the amount of abortions year over year that has happened since 1973.
Oh, look at that.
So in between 1980 and 1997, it was an all-time high, and it's actually steadily decreased, and now it's kind of even to about 630. But then for kids in foster homes, it's actually gone down from 1998 from 600,000 to 391.
So you're saying abortion declines and therefore the foster care declines.
Those are just what
That's what the statistics would say.
that's what they would argue currently, yes. So the number of legal abortions have decreased steadily over years.
And the number of kids in foster care have decreased as well.
Correct.
But by the same margin.
I mean, either way, it's a decrease. I think we can both agree that
Yeah.
that's a good thing, right?
I mean, a decrease
It's
is
pretty
sure
close,
a good
actually.
thing,
The
but
margin
I'd
is
be-
pretty
I'm not
close.
trying to prove a
I'd
point
be
by
curious.
saying that.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious about the like, is the margin
It's pretty. It's. I mean,
like if
the charts you
abortions
pull up are
decreased by
different.
50%, did foster care decrease by
Yeah.
50%?
The charts look, I would say, pretty similar. I mean, if you look at it at a different angle.
And can we also talk about the fact that back in what were those years, Joey, that abortion was at an all-time high?
1980 to about 97.
Can we also agree that those years too, there was a lot more children being born just in general?
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd make that argument. Yeah.
Well, there
So,
was less contraceptives
Yeah, there's a big birth decline worldwide right now.
right now.
going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, our generation doesn't want to have kids.
Well,
for
it's
some
a-
reason.
Nobody does.
In
worldwide.
fact, the current birth rate that we're at right now will not
It's
actually.
not sustaining.
We
We're
can't
not sustaining.
sustain
Right. Yeah.
our population.
and that's a
No, and-
worldwide issue as well.
And
Right.
I'm just curious, if there were more babies being born, does that mean there were more people possibly having abortions because
Oh,
there's
yeah,
more
I
people?
think
you know what
so,
I'm saying? Like,
yes.
is there a correlation there too?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I mean that
So
that would stand to reason that the more
Yeah.
people are getting pregnant, the more abortions there are.
Yeah.
I think that
And,
yeah.
and yeah, there's more contraception and there's condoms
Now there
and
is,
there's,
yeah.
and there's birth control and
Yeah.
now there's like 3 different types of birth control. You can get a shot, you can get an IUD or whatever
Yeah.
they call that. And
Yeah.
then,
Right.
there's more than that too.
Mhm.
'Cause-
Yeah.
So there's a number of contraceptives available to you, which is why I think we could see that number decrease.
Yes.
Too. So,
Yes.
And I mean, I just kind of want to throw it to it like a child. Like we all get kind of educated on how a child is born and how a child is made and how a child is created.
How is that?
Yeah. Can you
How does that
explain?
So
work?
I'm not
I
going to
don't
give
know.
you guys the
I need the birds and the bees,
the birds and the
please.
bees chat.
Can you start with me? Like, can you use me?
I don't want to. So, anyways,
Jesus, Joey.
so, I mean, kind of the point, and you mentioned this earlier, the personal responsibility, the morality of like, well, my religion doesn't agree with this, so I'm not going to do it. It's kind of that, to me, it all bakes down to that, and it's just like, why are you people searching for a solution to a problem you created? You know, like
Yeah.
just face you have to face the consequences at some point in your life, and it's just to go out and say, well, it's okay because it's legal to go and schedule. I can just call on the phone. I can go to Planned Parenthood. They'll set it up. It'll be really easy. No one's gonna make me feel bad about myself. Everyone's gonna encourage my decision, and affirm my decision and make yes, I made the correct decision because this is what's right for me. And then they just go in and they scramble up that baby and pull it and suck it all out, and it's a disgusting like procedure. Like none of it's good, all of it's horrible. But like, I just feel like at some point, if we keep on this path of not holding society accountable, we're doomed. And I feel like we're so close to being doomed already that it's like we can't even take much more. And it's just like this is one of those things for me, and that's just where I can't get past that. You knew what it took to make this happen. If you're upset about the consequences, tough. Face them.
Yeah.
If you really can't deal with it, there are other options. You don't have to murder the child, adoption. It's not my first, it should be zero, nobody's first choice. The first choice should always be to raise this child. I'm going to try to give it a better life than I had. That should be everyone's mentality going into raising a child. It just should be. Like I get it, like whatever. It just should be because that's just how it should be. I get so much joy. I don't get Christmas presents. I give so much to my kids. I work so hard so that I can give them and just see their happy faces and make them have the happiest time. So it's hard for me to kind of think about a life with them not around had we chosen that path because maybe we
that's-
didn't want to deal with it. We were in zero financial shape to have children when we did.
You never really.
I
People used
don't think you can be prepared.
No,
I don't
can't.
think it's a thing.
You can't.
Everything's a surprise.
Every parent learns as they go. No one, every parent plans as they go. Every parent learns right along with the development of their child.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I was no subject matter expert on any of it.
No,
Like,
No.
oh man, and I still aren't. Am not. But
no.
I mean, it's just life has been magical with them. So like, yes, I have that personal bias of saying that, you know, like I can't imagine life without them. I can't imagine anyone doing that, you know, and all these moral nuancy type issues.
Oh, bathroom break.
Bathroom break. That's a good. I was
No,
actually
that's good.
thinking the same thing.
The beer-
so when
the-
they think he comes back, I will be going.
The beers have been opened a few times. We're getting ready to make a run on the bathroom.
You know, I had a
All
bunch
right.
of soju before we started, so
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, with Caleb out of the room, I don't know where to go with this, but
yeah, look at that. Oh, what an idiot, dude! I can't.
Oh, come on.
man.
No, I think
You guys want to take him out back and
no.
I mean,
Absolutely not.
we gotta.
No, this
we
is
can't
good.
have him like this.
I'm-
No,
Differing
can't have
opinions.
you like this. Are you kidding me, Joe?
differing opinions. This is
No.
ridiculous.
No,
What-
I think
what
this is
this
good.
nonsense?
I think this is good because, he was smiling on his way out, which meant he was somewhat enjoying the conversation. And this
He's-
is what we're
he's
all
drunk.
about.
He's
no,
drunk.
no, well, I hope not after one and a half beers. But no, this is the stuff that me and Kyle have been talking about. And these are the things that we wanted to kind of cover. And this is a really good example where this conversation we've opposed on quite a bit, with
Yeah,
Caleb.
and me and Zach
yet-
kind of sit in an echo chamber. Like we agree on a lot of things,
Yeah.
but
It's-
realistically, he does. I mean, because I'll come from stuff from a non-religious standpoint, and Zach brings in that religious standpoint that's so good and valued.
Well, and you bring you bring as well the more, because all right. So in this conversation, what we're having is, and I really like Caleb's look. I really like Caleb's thought on this because it's so different. You want me to help you with that? Here, let me help you with that.
You child.
Let me hold on. Let me see if I can get a good one.
There we go. Get it for the mic, Joey. You hearing us? Take
Ooh, that was good.
a timestamp.
Thank you.
101:45.
No, I think this is really good. And correct me if I'm wrong, Caleb. Excuse me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, this is so far. We've had very differing opinions. We've had differing opinions on this, but I mean, this is one of the things that me and Kyle really wanted to do with this podcast, and it's one of those things where we haven't been able to get too many people on with differing opinions.
Right.
And it's really nice to have someone on because at least we get to hear the other side of what me and Kyle think.
And this is just a one opinion too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of the probably
And we-
1,000 that are out there.
And this will by far. Kyle knows this as well. He just left the room to go relieve himself. But this is one of those things where this is going to be another session on our podcast
oh yeah.
with someone else.
Well,
It
a
is-
session that I believe you should have with a woman.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think a woman brings another perspective to the argument for sure. But I have a hard time when people say, "Well, you're a woman. You're not a woman, so you have no right to talk about it."
Well, I mean, women shouldn't have any rights anyway, so
19th Amendment, right, Joey?
you're right.
Is it the 19th?
It's the 19th.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Women's suffrage movement.
Yeah, so but this is really cool. I like this because and to be fair, your argument as well, the way you're thinking about this is actually way different than what I've heard a lot of other people say.
That's how kids get aborted, Kyle.
Good grief.
Oh, jeez. I can see it from here.
No.
It is not something worth talking about on the podcast.
Anyways, continue on, Zach.
No. I really do like the way you approach it because you actually do take a stance that a lot of people can relate to, which is they just don't like government overreach. And me and Kyle have said that several times on several different subjects. This just happens to be one where we don't necessarily agree that is a government overreach. But again, it's a different look on a topic that we all hear about all the time, and it's so polarized. It's so polarized that people are afraid to come up with their own opinions. So I actually
Or at least
respect
talk about 'em.
or talk about
Right,
them.
right.
And so I can really respect the fact that you could come on to a podcast with other people that have opposing views and bring up yours, because it's a lot different than the polarizing stuff that we hear every day.
I think we need to normalize too, like talk about the opinions that you have.
Yeah.
And don't talk about it in an argumentative way, even though we did kind of get into that.
It doesn't matter though.
But talk about
We can still have that
Learn-
interaction.
learn from it, and move on with your day.
Right.
And learn to, have different opinions, and that not everybody has to have the same opinion
Yeah.
as you.
Yeah,
No,
it
100%.
boils down to, and this is something that I like to live by. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Oh, I love that one.
I think
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a
a
good one.
lot I think a lot of people I think a lot more people need to put themselves around people they can learn from.
Yeah.
And this is one way that you do that, is you talk about the different opinions other than your own, because there's so many people out there that don't want to challenge their own opinions, and that's why we see such of an echo chamber like Kyle was just talking about. People get into such an echo chamber on social media or just in their in-person friend groups.
Yeah, sorry guys, I think I have to go to a different room now.
Because he's the smartest person in the room. Get it?
Oh,
No, I
wait.
purposely
I
think we
didn't
can all
get it
learn
because I
from
don't
someone.
like him.
Hey, wait. Hey, Joey. Oh, it didn't work.
he turned it off.
He already
on me.
left.
Oh, did he turn it off, the Stream
don't know.
Deck?
It should be working.
Nope, not working.
Took away our fun.
Darn it. Anyway, no, I really like this. I think Kyle would agree.
Press it again.
You would think that, and I would agree. No, this is good stuff. I do
Press
like.
it harder.
No, it's counting down every time I push it.
Oh.
Watch it come through on the recording.
No, I know why it's not working. Go ahead, try again. Do it again.
Okay, Joey, he's lying.
Yay!
But
do the applause.
ooh,
Hey!
Hey!
Ooh.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
No problem, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too much fun.
yeah.
All right, no, but this is great. I definitely do like having because it makes you think about stuff.
Yeah.
When you do have differing opinions, and you aren't just stuck in that echo chamber where it's like, yeah, we agree on this, yeah, we agree on that, and we're just patting ourselves on the back about it.
And we've
for
had
the
a
next
lot of
out-
that.
We
I mean,
definitely. So this is great.
this is cool.
Hopefully we get more of this in the future.
I hope so, because we've had a couple of people that we've tried to get on, and it's just fallen through, whether they have something come up or whatever it is. We've had people fall through, and it's kind of disheartening. But at the same, I understand people have lives. Not everyone can devote so much time to a podcast. But this is the stuff that me and Kyle really want to talk about. It's in our intro.
Hard hitting
these-
topics, man.
these heavy hitting topics, because one of the things, and I don't know if you've heard us say it on the podcast before, but one of the things that we were taught in school, and you're a little bit younger than us, so
You graduated in 2010.
yeah.
I graduated 15. So I'm
Okay,
about
so 5 years.
behind.
So you were always told too, you don't talk about religion or politics.
Yeah,
in
you don't
public.
talk about your views. It's bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Shame
bad
on
to-
you.
Yeah.
yeah. And that's one of the things that
Just real fast. With you being a graduate of 15, did you get any of that paperwork? Because I know that, like, when the Obama presidency took over, there was a lot more, listen to the authority type stuff being pushed in the schools. I'm not sure when it exactly hit or how young it hit, but I'm just curious if you saw any of that. Being a little bit younger than us.
I can't say that I did. One thing I can say is I recall distinctly in middle school when in 2008 when Obama was up for election, alongside of, was it Mitt Romney at the time? I can't remember.
Not
it
no
2008?
it was
No, that was
No,
McCain.
yeah,
it was McCain.
Yeah.
I do distinctly recall like teachers actually talking about it in class, and like seeing like even some of the students putting up signs on their locker, like drawn on signs.
Well, you're
and,
also
like,
talking about the first black
yeah,
presidential candidate.
but then like in 2012, it was almost like, we don't talk politics and.
Interesting.
Oh, right. Like it came
it
on
was
real
like-
fast and then ended real quick.
Yeah, it was like, we all talked about it, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh,
yeah,
we don't talk about that.
I just don't. I don't see colors. So
Well, it's really interesting. It's really interesting because the first time that I talked about this idea to Colton, who's on the Midwest Goodbye podcast with Joey, the first time I talked about
what was
the
it again? What was
the,
one?
the Midwest Goodbye podcast.
Oh.
You don't know the name of your own podcast?
No, I just wanted.
Joey.
No, I just wanted to hear it again.
Yeah. Put it back in your pants.
Inflate me a little bit.
No.
Inflation is crazy.
That's a topic for another time. Kyle.
No. One of the first things that when I talked to Colton about this subject, the first thing he said, because I told him, we were always told not to talk about these things in public and to other people, especially in school. And first thing he says was, "Wow, what a good way to silence an entire generation."
Yeah.
Yeah. And that really stuck with me because that's what we've believed this whole time. Me and Kyle literally have had these conversations since we've known each other.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll
believe
sit on
the
the
generation before us was called. Were they called the silent generation?
No, the silent
Gen X.
generation.
Yeah, no, that's
What was Gen X?
That'd be before the boomers.
Yeah, that was right before the boomers.
Didn't the Gen X have a nickname?
Not one that was like popular, like millennials or Gen Z or
Oh, okay.
anything like that. Like,
Well, Gen X is millennials.
No, they're not.
no, they're not.
They're Gen X.
This whole
Oh, I'm
generation.
sorry. No, Gen.
Yeah, no. Gen Y is millennial.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Gen Zers are Gen Zers. Yeah.
And then it
But
starts
there's
over.
like when you think Gen X, you don't think like Gen Z is like used in a negative way, right? Like, oh, you're a Gen Z, you know?
Right.
Whereas like I don't think Gen X is used in that connotation. There's no.
No,
it's
they
like
aren't.
it's just it is literally what it was meant
Hold
to
on.
be.
Is it the
it's just a
forgotten generation?
Oh, that might be it.
Because they were the Vietnam, the ones that got pretty much murdered in Vietnam. If I'm not mistaken.
It's so weird, the whole generational thing.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
the
It's so weird.
folks that would have fought were in Vietnam would be the baby boomers.
Oh, they would. Oh,
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Because you
60s.
got Gen
70s.
Alpha,
Yeah,
you got Gen Z, you got Gen Y, which is millennials, Generation X, and then you have baby boomers. Builders, I never heard of builders. I've heard of the greatest generation, but
Yeah,
not
never build a builders.
like Bob.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, look at that guy too. He's even got a long beard. It's weird. All right. Well, I don't know. I thought I knew something. I guess I didn't.
No,
But
there is some sort of like
I thought-
nickname out there, but it's not
it
not
was
commonly used.
because, like, when I heard that, I conflated it to them standing by and letting millennials do millennial things, which we're a screwed up generation. Really, like,
There's
if
a
you
lot-
look at the
yeah.
radical changes of like everything with America, like millennials were the start of the crazy. The everything went off tilt with them.
yes, you were the start of the crazy.
We were.
Why'd you screw us up?
What do you mean? You're right along. You're with us. You're here too.
Well, is Joey? Because there's a lot of debate that it's between 94 and like 96, 97.
It's 96, 97 is the cutoff. So it
Yeah.
depends on
Yeah.
which article you go to. 96, technically.
Oh,
So 97.
so you're
would-
an elder Gen Zer. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'd be that
No, there's-
or a very young
there
millennial.
is a
So it just depends on where you look.
there is actually they've coined a term for the like 93 to like 96, 97 range, and that's zillennial.
Oh.
Stop. I don't want
no,
to hear
no,
that.
no. You can look it up. Like it's an actual thing. It's not good. It's just it's out there.
I'm not that. I'm not whatever that is.
But it was because like we can still recall things from the millennial generation, like the Sega, and all those nice video games and everything. But then the evolution of the smartphone. was
Oh,
when we
sure.
were in like middle.
What about riding your bikes outside?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, all right. Well,
I
there
rode
you
it with
go.
no handlebars.
That's all I
You
need.
can
Yeah.
ride my bike with
You can
no
relate to that,
handlebars,
we're
no
still good.
handlebars.
Hey, stop! You're gonna get us demonetized.
You have to be monetized to be demonetized.
Oh,
So okay, so let's bring it back. So Caleb, we kind of got a little bit debatey, but
Yeah.
I guess what I want to ask you, and you won't hear any debate from our end. I just want to hear what your thoughts are on the conversation. I like I said before, to me your idea on abortion had a little bit of a circular reasoning. I guess based off of the conversation that we've had here today, one, do you want to expand on your opinion a little bit more? Or I mean, I think it's safe to say that we didn't really necessarily change your mind in the short hour that we've been talking.
No,
But
but that's not what this podcast is meant
right,
to be.
and that's yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm not gonna have a Neanderthal try and sway my opinion. Sorry, God.
you don't
I'll
get it.
I
You
think-
don't.
well,
115, 136. I'll fix it.
because there was a lot of
Yeah.
breaks in what I was saying. So what I
Right.
can do is I can summarize my opinion. for
Yeah,
you.
just
Yeah.
give your opinion based off of what we've talked about tonight. I guess just give your kind of overall view. And again, we're not going to be here to debate at this point. I think just people might be genuinely interested to hear your take a little bit more expanded on.
So
And go.
3, 2, 1, go. So you know, I mean, to summarize it very, very briefly, is government overreach, right? But I think to expound on that a little bit is abortion, while morally wrong in the Christian society and maybe a few other societies, right, in religions, while morally wrong, and I personally wouldn't want to have somebody undergo an abortion. I do believe that it's not the place of the government to come in and say, "Hey, you can't have that abortion." And my reasoning for that is because, and let me just put this. Dad knew I was coming over here, and yeah, he still called me. My
So
reasoning.
Does he want to come over and talk about abortion?
No, don't get him started. We'll be here for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
But late term abortion should not be allowed, especially after the baby has a good chance of being alive, like fully alive outside of the womb, right? Like we looked at the stat and it was around 22 weeks was the average viability.
Sure.
Right.
Sorry. Are you saying after 22 weeks abortion? No.
Yeah, pretty much. Like to make it in layman's terms, yes. After
Sure.
22 weeks, it's a no. Like the third trimester,
right.
where
Okay.
the baby could be viable outside of the mother's womb. And you know, the reason being, I think the major reason for me too is like, you know, you hear about a lot of these screwed up kids that come out of the foster care system or the orphanage system and don't ever get placed on homes, or orphans or foster kids that just get booted out at 18 and they have nowhere to go, so they're living on the streets. While there are some people that have made it very successful in life, right? I think that's the minority, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is the minority. I think we can agree on that.
I would agree there. Yeah, for sure.
So I believe that it is not the government's place to say, hey, you have to put this child up for adoption if you don't want this kid. Because I think there's a lot more screwed up people that come out of that, and we get a lot more bad in the world out of that too. And I guess that's bad from a Christian standpoint too, right? Because what's bad here might not be bad in the Middle East, which I know you guys have hit on before too, right? So
I have an interesting question, and this is not to debate.
Sure.
I genuinely have a question because I just thought about this. What do you think? How do you think we can make the systems that we have in place for adopted children? How do you think we can make them better? This was just a random thought and question that
I
happened.
love that question.
Yeah.
Because this could actually eventually sway my decision or my viewpoint on abortion. If we
That's
could
kinda why I
fix
asked,
the
yeah.
point, the problems that the system has. And I think a big problem with the foster care system is a greed thing, right? Like foster parents that sign up for foster parents,
They're
or
just
to be
doing
fo-
it for the money.
yeah,
right?
because the government
check.
is going to pay me, and I'm going to get a check every month or
Oh, yeah.
whatever it is. You know,
100% that's
like
happening.
who wouldn't want to? You know,
100% that's happening.
let me just feed this kid ramen, right? Like.
Right.
Not shitting on ramen. I love ramen, but like, let me just feed this kid ramen because it's $1 a packet, and 49 cents a packet, something like that, right?
Well, with inflation, probably
Let me-
$1.49 back.
right. But that's something for another
Yeah,
time.
right,
remember?
right, right. Another time.
But then I'll pocket the rest, right?
Right,
So let's stop
right.
making it a monetary thing. Like, obviously, you want there to be a monetary aspect, but I do think there needs to be some sort of like more regulation on like how you become a foster parent. And I don't know what that looks like. I am not a politician, and that's why
Sure.
I vote people into office for that, right?
Right.
Or at least I cast my vote for who I want in office. It's
Right,
not
right,
always the
right,
people
right.
I want,
Yeah.
but and so I don't have all the answers on what I would exactly want to see, but I know I would want to see more stringent guidelines on becoming a foster parent and what makes me eligible to be a foster parent, along with making it not so much about the money that you're getting, and that money is more of a support system to help you and say thank you and making sure that kid is well fed, well clothed, well educated, right? So
Right.
If we were looking for anything that we can 100% agree on, all in this room, I think we found it right there.
I would
beautiful.
say even Joe would agree with that.
Yeah, and by the way, I did want to point something out to you too. There is somebody that you know that went through adoption and foster care. There is someone that you know.
Drum roll,
Me.
please.
Oh, whoa!
Just
Dropping
kidding.
a bombshell.
No, your uncle, Dad.
Was he
ado-
adopted,
Yeah.
or was he?
He was
so-
adopted.
So he
and
was
it- both. He was in the foster care after his mother died. He was in foster care and then he was adopted.
Well, he wasn't very successful, so
I want to
wouldn't
make
say
fun
that.
of you for the way you said that.
He's living the American dream. He has kids in a house, and
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, it didn't come through.
he muted it again.
Dang
I
it!
saw him doing it again after the last season. So okay,
No,
so
no.
fair point.
Yeah, and I'm
I
not.
always
That's not.
forget
That's
that,
not. Yeah,
right?
that's not to negate that. I'm just saying. I
That's also-
just thought about it.
While that is
He had great adopted
Yes.
parents. Yeah, and that's what you're saying.
And-
And his
and I
his-
guess even Aunt Linda too. Then
yeah.
So-
they were both. Yeah.
so.
They-
yeah,
they are a little
had
bit of an
great
exception,
adoptive parents.
yes.
And I think
Yeah.
that's where there's an exception.
Well,
Yeah.
would that be the exception, or is that exactly what you'd strive for?
That's what I want to strive for in
Right.
America and everywhere, right?
Let's
in the
let
world.
that not be the exception.
Right.
And let
Right.
good foster
But
parents
unfortunately,
be just the standard.
where we are is
Right.
the exception.
Right.
Yeah, we can.
Right.
I think
Now-
we can all agree that
Yep.
that definitely needs to be fixed.
I will
For sure.
say that you said they were full on adopted, right?
I think so. Oh man, he's probably yelling at his stereo right now if he's listening to this because I should know. I believe he was in the foster system and then they adopted him.
Like they were his foster parents and then they full on adopted him.
Believe so, but don't quote me
Okay.
on it.
They liked him that much, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like that's
And again,
great.
I do recognize that is a little bit of an exception because I do realize that there is a problem in the foster system. And it is, you're absolutely right. I think you're 100% right in that the way that they run it and the way that they fund it is definitely, there's a lot of families that do it based off of greed.
Yeah.
I definitely think that that's the case. And I do think that they need to incentivize it monetarily much less.
I don't even know if it's the amount needs to be less. I think it needs.
You're right.
It's 'cause
Accountability.
there
Holding
needs to be
accountability. Yeah.
And
yeah.
like I is the first step for because I don't know the foster care. Like I don't know what it takes to become a foster parent. I don't know what it takes to become an adopted parent.
Ooh, maybe that's
adopt.
a good subject we can
But-
cover later.
But
Yeah.
That would be a
if
good
it's
one.
less stringent to be a foster parent, right? why not? Let's start with making the guidelines to be a foster parent the same as being an adopted.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
If that's different, I don't know,
100%.
and I'm not going to pretend like I do know.
Right.
But let's.
Right.
If that
right.
is the case, let's start there,
Yeah.
because then that
That
might
should be
give
an easy
a
fix.
lot more.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would hope.
You would right.
So
Right.
so you kind of said it. I think I know the answer, but I just want to clear it up. So if those things were changed, if those changes were made in the foster system, would that change your opinion on the whole abortion thing? I mean, I guess what I'm asking is that the main reason that you believe what you believe about abortion and government overreach is the foster system and how messed up it is, or is there more to it? I imagine there's probably a little more to it,
There,
but that's one of the main things,
I would say that is probably like the
biggest.
70% reason
Okay,
why.
yeah.
Right.
So if
But I
they
still have my other
Sure,
reasons, right?
sure.
And-
That are just kind of minuscule to talk about, and like
Right.
that
Yeah.
even I'd even have to like even search for it even further in my brain, right? 'Cause,
yeah, understandable.
you know.
Yeah. Well, there's
Stage
so
fright.
I've heard about the slippery slope too, when it comes to the with the state overreach into what you can or cannot do to your body, what you can let someone else do to your body, whatever putting yourself up to these procedures, like how these laws can actually like really slippery slope into like them taking your kids away based on certain things, X and X, what, you didn't get them, say, an experimental medical procedure. Well, now we can just take your kids away because you're endangering them. Similarly to these, utilizing these same,
Yeah, you didn't give your kid ADHD medicine.
right. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, now you're not, you're obviously, you are the endangerment to your child. And it's kind of like, so I've seen that argument, and it's like, I feel like that one is more of like, well, hopefully that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing, and I don't know if you guys agree with me on this or not, the other thing I would say is a lot of these problems that we have that are like big hot button topics, I also don't believe should be decided on at the federal level, and I think it should be at the state level. I think like the original Constitution intended is that
Yep.
the states decide some of this stuff.
Oh, yeah. The
rather
federal
than-
government was supposed to be so small.
Yeah, and it's just becoming to this. I mean, they're the ones who control our everyday lives.
That's why they were such a stickler about the Roe v. Wade going back to the states. It's not
Right.
it's not the fact that abortion is now becoming illegal.
Right.
It's the fact that it's now being given back to the states where it should have originally
It was
stated.
probably one of
Right.
the first times they ever gave up power.
So wait, is that a second thing everyone in this room agrees on?
I think so.
What's that?
What I want to
That
make
the
sure I
states
agree.
need to have the power and not the federal government.
Correct. Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's what this country, I feel like, we would be so much in a better place if that was just the case. If our federal government was back
Yeah.
to the way that the founders thought it should be, we would be we wouldn't have any hot topic issues
We'd have
to talk about.
well,
The podcast.
well,
Hopefully
hold
not.
on though. Hold on though, because wouldn't that breed? So let's say that the states decided to. I'm not saying this is a good thing or bad thing. I don't. It's just a thought. Wouldn't that breed more of an echo chamber
Why?
if each state adopted its own laws and everybody just moved to
No.
Wisconsin because they believed that Wisconsin had it better than California, or blah 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 blah?
I mean, it's a little
That's-
bit what
that's-
it's like now.
That's the Constitution that we
I-
founded, though, is that you are able to
Yeah.
freely
Right.
move because we are the United States.
Yeah, and I like I said, it was just a thought that I had, and,
Yeah,
and we're already seeing it.
That's
Honestly,
the whole reason there was a civil war, because
Yeah.
there's no breaking up this union.
Well,
Like,
look
you
how many
can't,
people-
So we're going to fight for it.
yeah, and look at how many people are leaving California in droves.
I was gonna say like I stay
mean,
in Wisconsin, but like I'd never moved to California.
right.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, you want to think about it in this
Can't
way,
afford
like
that.
you look at
Well, I mean that's one reason.
well, you look at Europe, right? And they all have all of their countries, and then you have the UN, or not the UN, but like not what is their
UK.
no like not the UN, but their whole like currency system that they had in place.
The-
Um,
The EU
Yeah,
the EU.
well, you
has
had
the
the-
euro.
yeah, well, you had the EU, and where you can freely travel between
Yeah.
each country.
Oh yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
And you
Oh,
think about
yeah,
that the
yeah.
exact same layman's terms as the United States, because each state should have their own ability to do it so, but we're still under one nation, whereas in the UK, it's all different nations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their whole situation's so different than ours because I mean they're culturally so much. Yeah, each nation has its own cultural differences, religious, everything's different, and then you have some of the nations that were like not good economically, but they all get support. It's basically Germany. I mean, the EU is basically Germany 2.0, but it's all supported on the strongest economic foundation. So you had countries that weren't pulling their weight that are now, their currency is worth tons more than what their base currency used to be. The EU is crazy. I mean, if you really think about like where they came from to where they are now, because not all those countries were the same at all. They are all like 100% different. I mean, they really truly are. Besides a handful of them, Germany and Dutch. That's about it. That's
Austria.
Spain and Portugal, Austria. Okay, is that even? Yeah, whatever. So that's. I don't know. It's all EU is all it's just Germany, man.
Well, I'm
I mean,
just
it's all
talking
just
about.
propped up by Germany.
I'm just talking about in the layman's terms of laws. So each country there has a different law, and each state here in the United States have different laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an interesting question. I'm just thinking about this now. Should I ask another heavy question, or should we start wrapping up?
Well, I'd say this is the last heavy hitting question of the night.
All right. My question, Caleb. I don't know where you're going to go with this based off of your opinion. Do you think that taxpayer money should go towards?
I don't want to pay taxes.
No, hold on. Well, yeah, okay.
That answer is
Yeah,
satisfactory.
okay. I mean, yeah, that's, I guess that answers it.
No, continue your question.
Do you think taxpayer funds should go towards abortions for those that want them?
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just a question. I'm just curious.
I feel like there's kind of a catch-22 there, right? Because if
Okay.
I say no,
I don't think there is.
Well, but if I say no, but then you're going to come back and tell me.
No, I'm not
what
gonna
about-
come back
What
with
about
anything.
the government-funded,
Oh.
Obamacare, right?
Man, I wish I had something pulled up for you, but Joey,
But,
you got something?
This falls into
But,
this falls into
Yes
what's,
and no.
okay. So this
Is what
falls
I'll
into
say.
Title X. Have you guys heard of Title X?
Oh, he did have something. No.
Yeah, it falls into Title X. Originally, in the original Title X, it talked about how taxpayer money should not be used to fund abortions, but only Planned Parenthood. Okay. Problem is that, and I've got a cited source. Let me just pull up the source.
While you're pulling that up, all I'm going to say is my yes and no is no, right? Like, should the government just say, hey, here's a grant to go have an abortion?
Well,
no.
it does currently
But-
not do that.
But
Right.
But there are people who are on like the Obamacare plans, right? The Affordable Health Care Act, and in that case, yes, if that makes sense. Like if you've got the medical coverage, right? If you qualify for the medical coverage under the Affordable Care Act, then yes, you should. That is the government pretty much paying for your.
No, it's not the government paying for it. It's you paying for it. Are you
So,
comfortable
what was that?
paying for an abortion? Knowing that your tax dollars go towards an abortion, are you okay with it?
Knowing my tax dollars go towards knowing my tax dollars go for, and I'm going to say this loosely, people who cannot afford health care.
Well, we have the
Is-
Hyde. Well, I'm reading right here, real quick. Sorry.
Yes, the Hyde Amendment.
It says soon after the court's ruling, Congress enacted the Hyde Amendment, which blocks federal funds from being used to pay for abortion outside of the exceptions for rape, incest, or if the pregnancy is determined to endanger the woman's life, resulting in dramatic limited coverage of abortions under Medicaid and other federal programs.
Right.
And Medicaid's
Okay.
Obamacare? Is Obamacare tied to Medicaid?
That doesn't necessarily change my opinion.
Well, we
That's
pay
just
we
what it
we pay
is.
for Medicaid. You and I pay for Medicaid out of our paychecks.
Yeah,
But
they-
what it's saying is that you cannot abort someone using Medicaid.
The only problem with
Oh.
that, right? The problem is that so if you look at it, Trump actually, so what was happening was they started noticing that these funds were going towards Planned Parenthood and quote unquote proposed abortion clinics in the same facility as the Planned Parenthood. And those dollars were just going towards the staff and the supplies of these facilities, right? So the idea was, or the thought was that, okay, well, they're still funding the abortions. They're just not funding the actual medical procedure itself. They're still funding the people. They're paying the salaries of the people conducting the abortions. They're paying for the utility or for the, utensils and everything that they use for the abortions. And so, and here's another interesting fact as well. Trump actually put into it's called a gag rule, which is it barred Planned Parenthoods from telling expectant mothers and fathers where they could go for an abortion. It stopped them from saying, okay, well, if you want an abortion, you go to this address and do this. Okay. Now, whether you agree with that or not, the basis is what I'm asking you is the taxpayer dollars, even though it says that they should not be used for abortions. Here's the tricky thing. Okay.
It's not should, it is.
Yeah. Here's the thing. So this says the new program regulations most notably resulted in a mass exodus of clinics from the Title X network, including over 400 Planned Parenthood clinics and almost 900 other Title X sites. So if they're not directly funding abortions, then why are these places leaving the federal funding sites when Trump says, hey, you're not allowed to do these, you're not allowed to, push people towards abortion clinics? You see what I'm saying? Now that they made the rules stricter, why are there so many clinics and Planned Parenthood places leaving the network now for federal funding? I mean, I don't know about you, but I know a lot. I know there's a lot of people out there who beg for federal funding. I don't necessarily know of a lot of people that are declining federal funding. You know what I mean? And so I think what I'm trying to say is, even though it says that tax dollars are not meant to be used for abortions, I think that it is happening, and I think that I just want to know if you're okay with your tax dollars being used for abortions.
Again, that's a yes and a no.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, yes, I'm okay with my tax dollars going to someone who needs the help, right? As far as
For an abortion.
as far as healthcare is concerned, and if an abortion falls under that, then sure, that's fine.
Okay,
But-
so you're
but-
talking for the mother's health care?
He's saying like the fact that like Obamacare or whatever, it's a tax funded program that uses this program. If that program also does include elective abortion, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying yes, you
no,
agree
that's-
your money
Okay.
going towards the program, even though it says in this one minor subsection election that's okay, doesn't necessarily mean you're supporting that. You're just supporting the whole program as a whole,
Right.
and you're not letting that take your support away from it.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, essentially.
Okay, so what's the other side though? Because you said yes and no.
So the no is like,
I'm just genuinely interested. I'm not trying to argue with you. I
no,
promise.
no, you're fine. So like the no would be like, let's say you and your wife conceive a child,
Okay.
and
We
You
have
guys-
twice.
I know.
Congratulations.
And just
At least twice.
not that you ever would, right? But let's just say you go to an abortion clinic, right?
Okay.
And you're like, nah, I don't really want to pay for it. I don't really have the money to pay for it, even though like I have this health insurance and it doesn't include it. Like, I don't want to pay for it. No, I am not okay with my tax dollars. Oh yeah, you can still get it. Like the federal government's got you, or even the state government's got you.
So okay, so you're not okay with it in some aspects, but okay with it in some.
Yeah, like if you
Where's
need the
the-
financial help with the health care, right? And that's an included, like Kyle said, like he kind
Yeah.
of summed up my belief
Yeah.
perfectly. Like, and it's a subsection of what's included in the health care. That's fine with me, even though
Sure.
that's a tax, as long as you truly need the help too,
Sure.
right? Like, I don't want to give that away just because you are lazy and don't want to find a job,
Sure.
right?
So I'm just interested in where you draw the line. I mean, for what reasons?
What do you mean?
What reasons are you okay with your tax dollars funding an abortion?
Well, because one of them is
Again, I'm just curious.
no, you're fine. One of them is someone who needs the help, right? And already can't financially afford health insurance and if you can't already financially afford health insurance, can you financially afford a child?
Right,
Right.
but you just said.
And then the other flip side of it, right, is someone who, if you have health insurance, right, like from a job, right, or even if you get it on your own and you're paying for it because you are a freelancer or something, right, you have an income source coming in. I would say that's where the line is drawn. If you have an income source coming in,
Okay.
I guess would be.
So
the
should
best
you
way
have
put
to
it.
prove?
Well, hold on. If the subsection of abortion was discluded from the Medicaid and Obamacare, just included, health care, but no abortions, you wouldn't support it then, right? I mean, at that point, if it was like excluded from, if it was still an elective, you know what I mean? Like if it wasn't included in the actual Obamacare Medicaid program.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're asking is, would I not agree with having health care provided with my taxpayer dollars if there was not a subsection for abortion?
That's what I'm like. If right, so I mean,
Because
the
what
whole-
I'm saying, like what I am getting at is this healthcare thing, like in general, right? This Obamacare thing, I support it. My tax dollars going towards it. I don't care if abortion is in there or
is
not.
covered. Right.
Like
Okay.
I don't care if it's
Okay.
included or not.
So it's just
But,
more or
like-
less the other else, like people that just don't have the insurance
Yeah, like
are able
so
to have it, and they can go to the doctor.
I
as
can go
needed
in
for
a
the
whole
sniffles or
rant and
whatever else.
tirade about this too.
Yeah.
Like I could sit here and say like what I believe as far as like how long should you have that coverage? Like an able-bodied person who's able to get a job and able to find a job with health insurance coverage, like how long do I believe you should be able to stay on Obamacare, right, without paying a dime? And that might take 6 months, right? I can go on this tirade and everything, but we don't have time for that. And that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
All I'm simply saying is that the healthcare portion of it, right? Like just in general, whether abortion is included or not, I support this tax.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a yes and a no to it, right? Like
Yeah.
if we had another hour to sit here and talk about it, I would tell you my whole.
Sure.
I-
yeah.
And
You know,
I'm
but-
mostly just bringing up that what you support more so in that aspect, in saying that you would support your taxpayer dollars going towards the abortion, is just considering that umbrella that the Obamacare is a health care Medicaid coverage
Correct.
for people that can't afford.
Correct.
That's all I was trying to
Okay.
kind of just get at.
Yeah, I was just interested in the line that you draw there,
Right.
Because you're saying yes and no. I was just interested in the line you were drawing.
You know, it's basically like. I mean, if we had another hour to talk about it, I could
Sure.
explain a lot more. But like,
Well, there was one source. There was one source that I
I love
wanted.
this.
There was
Well,
one.
there is.
No.
let me just get back comfy here.
No.
It's gonna be a long episode.
Well, that's okay.
Strap
Though.
in.
There was a source that I wanted to cite here because we talked about. I said that the vast majority of abortions were, optional. It wasn't necessarily because of rape, incest. I just wanted to shed some light on that because I do have, I do have the reasons why women do have abortions. This is from
The internet will tell us, surely.
this is the National Library of Medicine that posted this.
Not reputable.
Not reputable.
Is this a .gov email
I was like,
address?
what?
I don't know who they are. They're not reputable.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't know my truth, so it's not reputable.
Exactly.
Exactly. You got it right there.
Okay. So bear with me here. So not financial. So these are the reasons. Not financially prepared accounts for 40% of abortions. Not the right time for a baby for women, 36% of abortions. Partner-related reasons, 31%. And the partner-related reasons are broken into subcategories. There are relationship is bad and or new. Respondent wants to be married first and not a single mom. Partner is wrong guy. Partner does not want a baby. Partner is abusive.
Out of a poll of what?
Out of a poll. This was actually the most recent study that I could find, which was 2013, and it was a huge poll done of women that had abortions.
But like in a particular state?
Nope.
In
nope.
a fed,
U.S. It's a U.S. study. The study was done by Feiner and colleagues, utilized data from a structured survey conducted. Yeah, so it's a U.S. study, and apparently, what this article says too is that apparently states in these areas are required to report things on abortion, specifics on abortion. As far as the reasons why people are not required to give that information, nor are the different areas required to report on them. However, this was just a survey done for that purpose.
The financial thing was the top, right?
Yeah, not financially prepared.
That's such a weird reason to me, man.
It so is because I honestly
Nobody's financially prepared.
I honestly have no idea how me and my wife made it work.
I don't know what that dollar amount is. Like maybe it's some sort of exponent of diapers and formula and baby bottles and baby warmers and all the other commercialized stuff they make it seem. But I don't know. That's crazy.
It's crazy to me.
It's
So
just you just make it happen.
yeah, and 40% was not financially prepared.
That's kind of crazy.
Not the right time for a baby was 36%.
That's really crazy.
Yeah, partner-related reasons was 31%, and those categories.
I get that one.
Well, those categories though are things like relationship is bad or new and or new.
Ooh.
Respondent wants to be married first, not a single mom. Partner is wrong guy. Partner does not want baby. Partner is abusive.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Partner is abusive made up 3%.
3%.
3% of total abortions.
See, and
hey,
I feel
Joe,
like society.
Could you grab me one more of these? Thank you, buddy.
I grabbed the last one, by the way.
Did you really?
So,
Oh man! Grab me whatever you can.
I feel like society kind of makes it seem like some of those bottom numbers are higher. You know, like in the movies and like the pop culture TV shows and whatever else, the dramas. It kind of makes it seem like those are the more.
I can agree with
the
that.
abusive partner is much more common maybe than it actually is in regards to this.
Now, granted, you were outside of the room maybe when I said it, but this was the most conclusive study that they did, and it was in 2013. So things may have changed 10 years
That's
since
crazy.
then. But
I wouldn't even doubt if that bottom broad category. What was it? Not the right time.
Broader category.
The
or
broader
bigger-
category of
Thank you,
on
sir.
the
whatever.
list, there was something
Thank
like
you.
that. It was like new partner and like
Yeah.
all
What
was the broad category?
Partner is bad and or new accounted for 9%. Oh, you're talking about the 40%. Oh,
Yeah,
not financially prepared.
No, because
not the right time for a baby?
and then you said there were like subcategories.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think it was not the right time for a baby.
Not the right time for a baby consisted of 36% and had its own subcategories.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if not the right time for a baby even was to grow in exponentially.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So partner-related reasons. The other one was need to focus on other children. Was 29%. 25% of that 29% said too soon after having had a child, or were busy enough with a current child, or
Man, you give your child their own best friend at that
yeah,
point.
yeah,
Too soon.
yep. The other one was interferes with future opportunities. That made up 20%.
Oh, that's sad.
Let's see here. Not emotionally or mentally prepared made up 19%.
but you know what, that one I can
least
also
they're being
understand.
honest.
You know what I mean?
Not emotionally or
If
mentally
you're
prepared.
if you're not emotionally or mentally prepared for a child, like
You never are.
I'd say you never are too, but at the same time,
and I've never
as
had a kid, but
Hey, as a survey response though, you have to appreciate the honesty there.
yeah.
I get it.
If someone can
Yeah, I get it.
at least say like, I will mess this child up beyond belief,
Yeah.
and like, all right,
And you have to respect someone
know,
for that
like,
too. Like being able to
just
say,
coming
"Hey,
out and saying it, right?
I won't be able to give this child a quality life.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a life worth living is something.
I can respect that they're taking into consideration
Yeah.
the life that they're bringing up,
Fair enough, based on your viewpoint. Yeah, I get you.
but based on my view, also based on my viewpoint.
No, I get what you're saying, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
No,
like, you
no,
have to
100%.
appreciate
Yeah, I get
that
it.
they're being
yeah, I get what you're
100%
saying.
honest and
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
like, hey,
They're being honest, and you know, maybe they should have had someone in their life earlier on than this point in time to kick them in the pants and say, hey man, tough, you got to figure it out, instead of like, oh, tough, you got to figure it out with this
Yeah.
child that you could potentially psychologically screw up.
Health-related reasons made up 12%.
of that 31%.
No,
did you say?
no. This is separate.
Oh, this is
12%.
separate. Okay.
Health-related
Where did
reasons.
we stop as far as where
What
we
were the-
separated?
the
where was the
subcategories?
separation?
Subcategories. Oh. Okay. So no subcategories here. After partner-related reasons,
Okay.
there was need to focus on other children made up 29%.
Okay, now I'm following this
Okay.
a lot more.
Interferes with future opportunities made up 20%. There are subcategories in that. Not emotionally or mentally prepared.
I'm curious about the subcategories
Okay.
for the future
Yeah.
opportunities.
So under interferes with future opportunities, we have interferes with educational plans made up 14%. Interferes with vocational plans, 7%. Want better life for self / don't want to limit future opportunities, 5%. And then the next category was not emotionally or mentally prepared, and that was 19%. The next category was health-related reasons, which made up 12%. And the subcategories are, I think, useful to note. Concern for her own health, in other words, the mother. Concern for her own health made up 6% of that.
Oh, that's kind of low. I
Yep.
feel like.
Concern for the health of the fetus made up 5%. Drug, tobacco, or alcohol use made up 5% of that. And I'm sure you're doing the math in your head and thinking, well, that's way over 12%. It does specifically say that some of this intermingles. They did I should have said this to begin with. The survey just left it extremely open-ended for the participate.
So they let people check multiple boxes?
No.
pretty much?
They don't check boxes. They just asked them why you're getting the abortion, and expecting mothers who were carrying out the abortions named all of the reasons why they had the abortions.
Okay.
So take these percentages in that way.
Sure.
And And then prescription drug or contraceptive use was made up 1.5%. Want a better life for the baby than they could provide, made up 12%. Want better life for the baby was 7%. Living or housing context not suitable for baby, made up 5%. Lack of childcare or help from family to care for baby, made up 1.4%. And don't want their children to have a childhood like theirs, made up 0.5%.
Wow, I thought the lack of family support would be a lot higher too
Yeah.
on that list.
Yeah.
Not
kinda low.
independent or mature enough for a baby, made up 7%.
Appreciate the honesty, though.
Yeah. Influences from family or friends, made up 5%. And these aren't subcategories again. These are...
Yeah, these are the following categories. I got you.
And the last one is that made up 4% was don't want a baby or place baby for adoption. 3% of those 4% said don't want a baby or don't want any children. And then 0.7% of that were don't want to put baby up for adoption.
Okay.
So, and then there is an other category, which is 1.2%. And it does not go into any other subcategories. So it's just interesting. The reason I thought that was so important is because, well, one, I stated earlier that, there's a vast majority of people that don't get them because of these incidents. But honestly, it does put into context why people are getting them. And I think that's important. If we're going to have a conversation about abortion, we should take into consideration why people are having them.
For sure.
So I just thought that was, but anyway, I think that we've had a good conversation here.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you guys have said, and hey, it's given me things to think about. It's given me a new viewpoint to think about, and
What you've said
absolutely,
too.
yeah.
What you've said too has honestly challenged me because me and Kyle have come on here and said several times, government overreach, no go.
right.
And so it definitely does challenge my thought process on it.
No, 100%, man.
I'm not gonna say that my mind has been changed or anything, but that's not, again, you've said, that's not the purpose of
If you
this.
do happen to change your mind though at all in the future, and it's because of anything I said, I want you to shout me out on the
Give you
podcast.
credit, yeah.
Give me credit.
We'll hook you up with
Will
that.
do. But no, I Caleb, I can't thank you enough. You've been our first guest who really had an opposing viewpoint.
What?
And Joey did too. But we didn't
We
elaborate.
no.
don't count Joey though.
What about Father Son? Oh, I didn't have a opposing view on Father Son.
Yeah, you did. I did. I said you
Oh,
did.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
I'm the first guest. You're a producer.
Yeah, you're here all the time.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, I really appreciate, because this has been the first episode where we openly talk about the difference of opinion.
Yeah.
And hopefully you felt comfortable enough to share your opinion, and hopefully you enjoyed your time here. I know we certainly, I think I can speak for Kyle.
I had a great time. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
No, thanks,
I would love
thanks so
to
much
come
for
back
showing.
on too if you guys ever want me.
Awesome.
100%.
Different topic though. Let's not just make it abortion again.
Oh yeah, 100%,
Yeah, for
100%. And I think on me and Kyle's end, I do think that it would be nice to have a female's perspective on abortion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's necessarily a subject that is mutually exclusive to women, but I do think that they would offer a different perspective on it, which I
probably
can
have
respect.
Different viewpoints than even I have.
Sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
you know.
I would assume.
But yeah, so the abortion topic, I'm sure, is not done on this podcast. But
I'm sure I can find you a guest for.
I know
woman
of
perspective.
several too.
Okay, I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
if you need one, I'm sure I've got one that would be more than willing to come out and talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Great.
Just be prepared for arguments.
Who would that be? I'm just curious.
My co-host on Kindling Conversations,
Oh.
Oh, Kindle.
What's their name?
Ashley.
please tell me your
Yeah,
intro.
give us more before we close out here. Give us some information on Kindling Conversations if people want to listen to your
please,
podcast.
Yeah,
please
please.
tell me that your intro you have someone like with like a James Earl Jones-esque voice.
Oh, come
It's like,
on.
thank you for joining us.
Would you like to hear the intro?
Let me pull it up.
Yeah,
for
Joe
you.
can just
Oh, yeah,
throw
he
it
can
right
just
up
throw
here.
it right up. It was it just
Yeah, I'm interested.
It just released on today's episode actually.
Okay.
The new intro.
All right,
Okay.
great.
Did you redo your first episode? Do you want to? Did you
No.
take that out?
No, I did not. I
No,
haven't
okay.
done that yet.
Real quick,
so.
do you want to hear his first intro that he ever did?
Give me
I
your
don't know
thoughts
if you
on it. Give me your
No, we're
thoughts
gonna
on
do
it.
we wanna
do
do
that
that to
first.
him?
Oh,
Yeah,
you
we
want
are.
to do that? Okay.
All right.
It's all right.
You're not going to come after us for copyright, are you?
Welcome to Kindling Conversation,
What do you think of that? That little riff.
What's your
That's,
first
that's a
thought?
nice little riff.
podcast where we spark discussions and
Let me
explore
go to
new
the-
ideas.
go to the-
Good.
on,
That
no.
is loud.
That's really loud. So yeah, I gotta tell you, it's pumping me up.
It is pumped. Yeah, it's pump up.
So you don't think of Home Depot or Menards or anything like that?
Ooh, the guy's voice. Now that you say that.
Oh, yeah. Maybe
Joey,
that's
so
what it
we
is.
published this. Joey listened to it and he goes, "Dude, I thought I was walking into Home Depot."
Oh no.
That's actually funny. So
So we
let's.
did-
So
No,
you've
yeah.
revised it.
Yeah,
we have revised.
Maybe
Okay.
I just like
Actually,
Home Depot a lot,
they-
but I didn't even go there at first. I was just like, yeah, I like this. I like this.
Yeah, I
No,
did too. But
they deleted it as soon as I said it. They're like, yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
no.
we need to
It
change
did
this.
give. I will be honest. It did give a little bit of like a car salesman vibe.
Well,
But let's
Here-
hear
here is
the
their
revised.
revised one.
Welcome to Kindling Conversations, the podcast where warmth meets wit, and four friends gather around the crackling fire of camaraderie to share stories, laughs, and insights. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, settle into your favorite spot, and let the glow of Kindling Conversations accompany you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kindling.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
So how much did you pay for that?
I
Chat
did pay
GPT.
for it.
No, that was me, baby. Didn't you
It's- you
recognize
didn't
the
get Joey's
voice?
voice in it. No, are you guys familiar with Fiverr at all?
Oh,
Fiverr.
Fiverr.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I paid $25 to have a. Actually, it's a lot longer than that, but a minute is too long for an intro. So
Sure.
we cut some of it out and decided to just use that portion of it because it hits exactly what we wanted to hit. So $25 is how much I paid for that.
That's not honestly. That's a pretty cool idea. I never would have thought
Yeah.
about that.
yeah.
I
that's
will
good.
say. Granted, I haven't heard the podcast, but with you having the fireplace in the background and
Oh, yeah.
the crackling fire,
Oh,
it
that
just
sells
seems
it.
like.
that was good.
Well, yeah, and but it seems like you should have like someone, like I'm trying to think of an actor that I could compare to. James Earl Jones is one where it's just Morgan Freeman. Get Morgan Freeman to do your intro.
Oh yeah.
It should
Maybe
be
when we
easy,
get big
right?
enough, right? Yeah. Getting Morgan Freeman to do that cheap.
Well, just-
$25.
Just go to
25
Fiverr,
bucks.
go to
I got it.
Fiverr and find a Morgan Freeman
Yeah.
impersonate.
That's true.
Hey, there you
impersonist.
go. No,
Um,
I'm just kidding. That's actually pretty good. I never
Yeah.
would have thought about putting it on Fiverr to have
So yeah, our
like a voice
plans-
actor.
So yeah, there's
Watching you.
I can smell you. I can smell the fire.
Do you want to do it?
No.
So yeah, Kindling Conversations. It's just me and three friends of mine. One I've known since like 6th grade. We always had conversations around either a campfire or fireplace, and so we decided why not put it in podcast form. So that's what we're doing. And we have big plans for it. Eventually, we want to get a microphone that is actually right by the fire, so you're actually getting like the
there you
ambiance
go.
of the fire
Oh,
of the
yeah.
room.
Heck yeah,
Of the
that's
fire
cool.
that we actually have lit. We light a fire every time we record, so that way we actually have that with us.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really warm in
That's
that
cool.
room.
Sure. Well, so what kind of content do you guys talk about?
Honestly, we are just a variety. We're a variety show, pretty much.
Okay.
We don't hit the hard hitting topics. We might eventually, once we're more comfortable with that.
Well, what's your main theme? You have a main theme at some point, like so not a theme, sorry, but a main staple point of your podcast that you do every single episode. So, what is that?
Oh well, we have a few segments.
Okay.
The first segment is our Mocha Moment of the Week, which is the dog. So that's one segment. But the biggest segment we do, and I would say we spend probably about 20 minutes on it, is our conspiracy of the week.
Ooh.
So
I like
I'm
conspiracies.
listening this week.
So-
100%.
So, well, if you want to listen this week, you have to go back to episode 2. Since we're 3 episodes in, episode 2, we actually talked about the deep state.
Okay.
Ooh.
And we didn't have a lot of information on the deep state at the time, so it was really just like me saying, yeah, no, I don't agree.
Okay.
You know,
Sure.
and not really being able to expound on it because I didn't have a lot of information.
Sure.
Yep.
Episode 3, we actually have a little bit more information available to us, so we do a conspiracy recap
Okay.
about the deep state, and that's our conspiracy of the week. So
Awesome.
Okay.
if
Cool.
you guys are interested in listening, go ahead and give it a listen.
Yeah.
Just know that, like, we are a startup podcast, and
Sure.
audio is not that great to start, but we're hoping with episode 4 and beyond, with Joey's help,
He's
an
lying.
assistant. With Joey's help, actually, I came over today and he helped me troubleshoot some stuff.
Yeah.
We're hoping episode 4 and beyond can be great.
She's just not at the quality of me. So I'm just that good of a
You guys just
producer,
got
so.
lucky and lucked into having this studio.
Well, we
because
did,
of-
Fell into
honestly.
this kind of thing,
I will say we did get lucky.
Yeah.
Joey has been great. Joey has been absolutely
Pay
phenomenal.
me, pay me.
No, we.
expletive.
Well, I
Pay
won't.
me.
I won't ever shy away from a thank you for you, Joey.
No,
so-
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I
thank you.
actually owe you a thank you too, because like you starting the Midwest Goodbye and you guys actually starting Common Sense of Beer is what kind of sparked. Me and my friends have been talking about it for.
What I don't understand, sorry to interject, but like Colin and I started our podcast in September. And ever since September, I've seen so many podcasts
At least
open
one a
up in
month?
608. Just like, what did we start something?
Oh, you
Like, what's
did.
going
Well,
on?
I will
I
tell
think
you.
did, man.
I will tell you when it came to me and Kyle. Well, first of all, if you remember, you offered. First of all,
Yeah, big mistake.
but
Look what you
honestly, me and Kyle had talked about this for years and years and years, and we never really thought it was. We never really thought it was possible, or it was
didn't
just
think
kind of
there-
a pipe dream.
That,
you
and there
know?
was really, we didn't think there was any value. I mean, we were just
Yeah.
two guys getting off work, just drinking beers and talking.
Talking, yeah, that's
all
all
it
it was. And
was.
at one point, we're just like, "Hey, we should record this," and so and now here we are. But this has been great. You have a great setup here, Joey, and I know it benefits you for your podcast too. But honestly, this is great. This is awesome. I thank
well,
you.
you've been here since the days of the lawn chairs, so
yeah,
Yeah,
I was here for the lawn chairs too. That
Yeah.
one episode that I was a guest on.
yeah.
I will say, though, with the Midwest Goodbye and then Common Sense and beer.
Oh no, it's not. Oh, it's not with beer.
No,
No, it's
Oh
and beer.
no, my God! I've been trying to find. I've been trying to find your program for the past 3 months, Zach, and I can't find it.
it's common sense and beer.
No,
He's lying.
that was perfect.
Oh man!
So with the startup of those two podcasts, it was something that me and the friend group had talked about for a couple of years, and even before that, me and Kyle, my other co-host, my best friend of like 15 years at this point, we had tried. We sat down with a laptop at the truck station, an I-90.
Oh wow!
Back in like 2014, 2015.
Wow.
And we tried.
I'm
and,
sure that audio was fantastic.
You know what? You can listen to like an 8-second sound bit of it on Spreaker if you look up the Kyle and Caleb show.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Spreaker?
Yeah, actually, if
How do
you,
I-
your,
how do
your
I
best
find
bet
that?
is go to podchaser.com
Okay.
and then look up the Kyle and Caleb show.
Podchaser.
This
I don't
is
even know.
awesome.
I don't even
Caleb
know. Yeah, Kyle and
and-
Caleb.
Oh, Kyle and Caleb. Sorry.
Just look up Kyle and Caleb show. Like that's straight it.
This is funny.
But so like this is what we had talked about and we've dreamed about, and you guys were just kind of the inspiration to just go ahead and do it. View
Kyle,
all.
we've inspired somebody.
No,
awesome,
I
man.
inspired
Yeah.
you, which means I inspired him. What are you talking
I
about?
gotta-
No.
You know what? Look up.
You inspired us, and then we inspired
Yeah.
them.
I'm trying to remember. I just found it last night, and I was like, "Oh dear God."
I want to hear this audio. Is what I
Yeah,
want to
go to
hear.
episode-
That's like the
See if
Ben
it's in
Shapiro
episodes.
show pop up like number 4. Like what? Kyle and Caleb show Ben Shapiro. What?
Oh,
Oh,
Caleb-
that's the one. That's the
Found
one
it.
right there. It's like an 8-second soundbite.
Let's hear it.
Hi, my name's Kyle.
I think you're doing the
That's it. That's all we had.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
If you notice, I f***ed up the intro because I said I'm Kyle.
You said you're Kyle.
Yeah, you dropped another
Sorry.
F-bomb.
You only-
PG-13.
you only
We're
get
on now.
209.
Honestly, if we put an explicit tag on this one, I don't care. It's still, people will still listen to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Man. It was
Honestly,
fun.
that,
It was a good one.
honestly, Caleb, I can't tell you enough. I really appreciate this. This is the kind of stuff that we really wanted to do,
Oh, absolutely.
and so we really appreciate you coming on.
No worries.
And I know you've had arguments with Zach in the past, but having a fresh argument with you for the first time ever, for the first time meeting, no, I'm just, I thought the conversation was really good. As far as the arguments and the debate goes, I mean, this is all good. I mean, it was all
Yeah.
very constructive. There was no
And it wasn't. It wasn't screw you type arguments
exactly.
either.
There
It
was no
no,
name
this
calling.
Is,
It was
yeah.
all
You
very
got it.
constructive.
You
so-
got it.
Yeah,
Because there's
no.
so many times where something like this will bring up the, well, screw you. You don't believe me. You're offending me. I'm done with this
The
conversation.
best way to put it is sometimes this just brings up the worst in people.
Oh, it does.
So,
Yeah.
It does for sure.
You know.
Yeah, it's so awesome that we can have these conversations. These
Yeah,
are the things
I,
that me and Kyle
I dig it. I
And
really
have a beer
appreciate it.
still
Yeah.
afterwards.
Here,
Absolutely.
let's see if
I'm
we
out,
can
but,
get.
Maybe I have a little bit of foam
You
left.
can still clink that bottle.
Oh,
That's all right. A
Ayo.
few little clinks there. Yeah.
But
well,
no, thanks so much for coming on, Caleb.
Yeah.
I really, really do appreciate it.
of course.
I love having conversations like this, and just like you said, we gave you some stuff to think about. I'm gonna come away from this with some stuff to think about
Yeah.
myself. So
Yeah. What you've said has definitely challenged my opinions, and that's always something that I can value. So.
exactly.
Absolutely mine too.
So yeah, let's get to the next portion of our show
Yeah.
where we talk about what we're drinking. What are we drinking, boys? This has been a longer episode, so we've had a little bit of a mix here. But
Quite a variety of a night.
yeah, Kyle, what do you?
Funny enough, we kind of went with New Glarus, like normal.
Yeah.
What in Wisconsin?
In Wisconsin. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, crazy, right? So we started off the night with Moon Man myself
Yeah.
personally.
Yep.
Moon Man is a delicious, it's a nice IPA. Got to get it in the bottle. I love it in the
All
in
of
glass
those-
or
Is
draft.
it a hot take that I don't like IPAs?
Okay, hold on. IPA. This is the only IPA that I will actually buy.
Really?
Moon Man,
This is
Never
fantastic.
tried it.
Same.
I don't like
because
IPAs, so
Hold on.
there's some IPAs I like.
Go get
Is
one.
it the bitter
Go
taste?
get one.
is there some out there?
Yeah,
Is it
go
the
get one.
Is it
Okay.
the bitter
It's in the
bitter
fridge.
taste, right? So the bitter taste of
Yes.
IPAs, I don't like either. There's a couple of them that do not really have that taste.
Yeah.
Moon Man is definitely one of them, and
I-
is actually my favorite IPAs.
Yeah,
New
I-
Glarus Moon Man.
I
That is
I
delicious
honestly
beer.
had no idea that was an IPA when I was first drinking it. I had no idea. I'm
Well,
really
honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering if it classifies itself as an IPA because don't they have another beer?
yeah. Read the label. What's the label say?
So this is a No Coast Pale Ale.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's
Okay,
not
so it's
technically an
close.
Indian pale ale.
It's close.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see what you think of that, because you've been drinking the varieties as well here. You tried a couple others, but you tried some heavier beers that we had here tonight.
So while he's open, all right. So he's gonna try this Moon Man out. The other beer I've been drinking on tonight is the seasonal Cold Snap.
yeah,
Sam
that's what I
Adams.
was drinking too.
It's probably for the wintertime beers on par for me for like a summer shandy type of beer. It is amazing. I love Cold Snap.
Cold Snap,
White ale.
I like Boston Lager. I like Sam Adams Boston Lager, but this is good. It's good.
Good.
What do you? All right, couple sips in. What are we thinking about Moon Man over there?
So I definitely taste the pale ale, right?
Sure, sure.
Right.
But it's definitely not an Indian or an India.
Yeah, it's
pale ale.
not
it's
like-
it's a
Doesn't
No
have that-
Coast. It's like one of those. I've never tasted anything like it before beers.
So do you like it? That's the
I
question.
do.
you?
I'm actually pleasantly surprised because
Would you buy it? That's the question. Would you buy? Would you go out of your way
you could
to
buy
buy
a
it?
6-pack of?
Or if you just saw it, would you buy it?
Is it something I would
Actively seek out?
actively seek out for
A party?
pleasure
Oh,
or
okay.
a party? No. If I was hosting a party though, or if I was at a party and this is what they had, I would absolutely drink it. And
There you go.
If it lined up, if they had this or Coors Light or Bud Light or Budweiser or Bud Light, like any of those, any light beers, I'd go for this any day, all day.
That's a win.
There you go.
That's
man.
a win. Yeah, that cold snap is so good. Caleb, you had a couple cold snap or one
I
cold
had
snap?
one.
Yeah, that was pretty good, right?
That was an easy drinking beer for me. Went down pretty smoothly.
Do you
Actually, that was probably one that went down the quickest for me.
Yeah. Well, we were having a conversation at that point too.
We were. I had to
That
keep the
always-
vocal cords.
That always makes it easier.
Yeah. No,
And then the other one that we're drinking tonight, you tried for the first time. We've discussed it on a previous podcast, but what did you think of Oofda?
it's a Bach for sure, but it is a delicious Bach.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So
That's
I know-
currently what I'm sipping on right now.
Yeah, I know enough about a beer because I had to taste a bunch of beer for my job
Yep.
back in like July, August, because I was in charge of creating a new menu for the beer at the place I was working at. And
Sure.
I got to say, of the box I've tried, Oofda takes the cake for
Yeah,
sure.
It's good stuff.
Oofda's really good.
If
Now,
I,
you know what, Kyle, though? I've realized we've liked every beer that we've had on here. We got to try. I don't know how much I want to
here,
push
do you
it,
want a
but-
recommendation? Do you want a recommendation from your guest?
Sure.
Okay, let me just.
I saw that,
It's-
Joey. I saw that the other day. RPG just totally
Did it
blew
just
up on a
blow
dude.
up on the guy?
Yeah.
Did it kill him?
No. He's alive to tell the tale.
So what?
So-
it didn't go anywhere. It just blew up.
Yeah. It just blew right up.
Oh my god.
So I will become a number one
Yes.
fan. I'm gonna give you 2 beers you got to try. Okay.
all right.
Let me break out my phone so I can
Write
One
those
of
down,
them.
Zach.
One of them in
actually text it to me.
okay. One of them in true Wisconsin fashion is gonna be from New Glarus,
Sure.
and that
Has
is
to be.
Belgian wheat. It is a wheat beer. If you have not tried it, it's like there's a cherry undertone to it.
Yep.
Oh, it's delicious.
I've had it.
I
went on
actually
a-
haven't. So.
For work, I went on a New Glarus brewery tour, and I even got to see the old brewery, which you don't usually get to see. And the way that they infuse the fruit and everything into the beer it's quite impressive, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like that brewery tour is awesome. If you live in Wisconsin, do you want to go to a brewery tour? Check out the New Glarus one. It's awesome.
If you live in Illinois and just vicariously want to know what it's like to live in Wisconsin, go there.
Just don't try to sell their beer. I know why.
Yeah, oh,
they
yeah.
don't sell their beer. Do you know why?
I think it's their licensing, right?
No. Do you want to know the reason why? So this is what the sales guy
I thought
told
it was
us.
supply.
No.
They don't have enough.
No, they have plenty.
Oh, they have plenty. Yeah.
They outsell every beer in Wisconsin, and they actually just added on more.
Oh, okay.
So they have the supply. Like
Okay.
this year or 2024, they are planning on actually extending by practically double in their main. That's awesome. Brewing.
Keep it
supply.
coming, boys.
So
Awesome,
the reason that they don't sell in other states. Do you want to know the reason, or do you want me to keep it a surprise or secret?
Do they
Oh, I want to know.
do they just not want to, just out of the principle of it? They
So
just
it's
don't
actually
want
kind of out of spite.
Oh,
From
yes.
what I was told, it was out of
Yes.
spite.
I'm loving this already.
Spite
So-
for whom?
Illinois.
Yes.
So when Glarus actually started, according to our salesman, I just want to point that out. According to the salesman who gave
Sure.
us the tour,
Right.
Sure.
when they started the New Glarus Brewing Company and they started selling and everything, they actually did sell in Illinois. They actually started out in like the Chicagoland area and everything
Okay.
like that is where they sold. They couldn't keep up with supply, right? So it's kind of a supply issue. It's not a supply issue anymore.
Right.
They
Okay.
pulled out of Illinois. and said, "We don't have the supply for you. Sorry." Illinois came back and tried to sue New Glarus.
Ooh.
Basically on the grounds that you pulled out a popular product for us. Like, they didn't get far with the lawsuits or anything like that, but Illinois tried to sue New Glarus because it was the #1 beer in the Chicagoland area.
Of course.
Yes.
That's
So
awesome.
our salesman basically said,
Chicago,
I can see...
Chicago can take their Goose Island and shove it.
I mean, Goose Island is good.
It is good.
Our salesman
New
said
Glarus is better.
he can see a world where New Glarus is sold in 49 states, but Illinois will not be one of them.
Oh, man, that's
God,
so,
that's awesome.
that's so funny.
Screw you, Illinois.
That's so funny.
That's
But,
awesome.
The second beer I want you guys to try is it is from Wisconsin Brewing Company,
Okay.
Okay.
and oh shoot, I'm blanking on the name right now. I'm
Oh,
so
come
sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ale Asylum went out of business.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
crazy.
Ale Asylum makes some of the best beers that I've ever had. And, like, you could go there and just, oh, my God. Their food, their beer, like, everything was so good. It was so fresh.
Yeah.
And it was a cool place. It was
Yeah.
a really cool
Yeah, yeah.
place.
So
Yeah.
I want to preface this by saying, of all the beers I fought to be on that menu, this was the one.
Okay.
He's lying.
You can say that, but I'll bring my boss and let you know.
Go ahead.
It is Wisconsin Brewing Company's Hazel's Nut House. It is a hazel nutty beer, like a nutty hazel, like it's
Okay.
hazelnut beer.
Okay.
Oh,
It's a heavy beer, heavier.
Yeah, I like the heavier beers.
But it's got that hazelnut undertone. It is delicious. It's probably my favorite beer, hands down.
is it more like a stout?
No, it's like an ale,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it's
Okay.
got that hazelnut undertone. Dude,
So
I don't know how to-
about as heavy as the UFTA?
Wisconsin Brewing.
yeah, I would say
Maybe a little bit lighter.
maybe a little heavier.
What was that
actually.
one called
Maybe.
again?
It's Hazel's Nut House from Wisconsin Brewing Company,
Hmm.
which also happens to be
New
a pizza
Glarus?
place up in
Oh, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
Dells.
Yeah.
That's Wisconsin Dells Brewing Company, not Wisconsin.
Whoa.
You all right there?
It's Wisconsin Dells Brewing Company.
yeah,
My
and-
bad.
Okay.
I had a little rail of theirs samples when I went there the one time, and I'm not a huge honey fan, but they had a honey beer that was phenomenal.
I tried like 4 beers of theirs in our selection, and unfortunately, based on the big bosses, I could only choose one beer from the brewing company.
Yeah.
I tried that, and I was like, hands down, that's the one. That's the
Yeah.
one.
Right?
Awesome.
Oh,
Everyone
man.
tried it and was like, oh, that's the one for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Well,
look
yeah,
into
we'll
that one.
definitely have to check these out, and we'll have to try to experiment a little bit more, Kyle. I thought we're kind of branching out with some of these, but we've liked every single one of
Well,
them.
we branch out and then we branch right back into New Glarus, man.
That's true. That's true.
Can I just
oh.
name drop another brewery for you guys to just...
But before you do that, there is New Glarus products that I do not like. I will say.
for sure.
If you've ever tried, have you ever had Stone Soup from New Glarus?
No,
Oh,
No, it doesn't sound good.
that doesn't sound good.
Well, I mean, think about it. Does
Well, 2 women.
two women sounds
Fair enough.
good,
Yeah,
but
I mean, I want 2 women.
yeah, like Spotted Cow doesn't really necessarily tell
I like
you.
cows.
But Stone Soup,
And I like spots.
Stone Soup is a weird one because it's and they tell you up front, but it's very clove heavy.
Ooh, I love clove.
See, I'm not a big
I would
fan.
actually probably like that. Then.
So it's a pretty heavy beer.
do you guys like clove cigarettes?
No,
Ever
No.
did? Oh man,
nice.
they're like
Joey.
I don't think you can get them anymore. But
No, I don't think you can.
Oh.
Yeah, pop. Oh, there he
there
goes.
it goes.
So go ahead, shout
So
out.
the other brewery, just in general, like I liked a lot of their products when I went there, and I actually did a brewery tour there. A lot of the products that they have are just delicious. There's a few that are like meh. Deusterbeck's out of Elkhorn.
Say it again.
Doosterbeck's. It's out of Elkhorn.
Out of
Elkhorn, really?
Yeah, they actually just recently signed with one of the distributors, so you should see them either coming soon or in stores. If not, just take a drive out to Elkhorn.
Yeah,
And,
that's not that big of a deal.
Next time you have me on, let me know ahead of time. I'll drive out to Doosterbeck's and get us a
Oh,
sixer.
we're having you on next week.
Sounds like a plan. Hey, just to throw out another brewery, distillery, just because I just thought of this one because it's super close. Harvard, Illinois
Okay.
has a distillery that makes a jalapeno vodka.
Ooh, interesting.
And it is
Ooh.
amazing. The
I
heat
am not-
you actually get from it, like it is heat. Like it is amazing. This stuff is so good.
that might turn me on to. I don't know. I'm a
Jalapeno vodka, man.
vodka
I don't like
is
vodka.
terrible for me.
Yeah. I'm a
Oh, it's
whiskey guy.
terrible.
I
I'd rather
like my
yeah.
scotches and my whiskeys.
Oh, bourbon.
Bourbon I've only recently acquired taste for, and I've only done that because I have to for my new job, my new restaurant gig.
Well, Kyle, what's the bourbon that we like drinking?
Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, that's such a white boy.
It's the OG,
Dude,
So
Come into where I work.
you gonna give me a discount because I've seen the prices at where you work.
No, but we do have a whiskey. Or we have a.
Sorry, but
Fair enough. We have a rye.
you have
Okay.
a rye.
A rye. And
I like
don't
rye
get
whiskey.
ready to hit. He's lying. Because when I tell you the price, you're not going to think I'm lying. We have a rye.
I don't mind ryes, yeah.
That is an allocated rye. Do you want to go ahead and take a guess on how much a shot is?
If it's allocated, I'm gonna guess. Well, do you have Buffalo Trace?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so how much is that a glass or a pour?
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you
Okay.
because I just don't know.
Probably not expensive.
Yeah, I mean that's
it's at
Where
where I work, it's
Relatively speaking.
no. Just go ahead and throw a number out there.
Let's
and I'm
see,
sure
a
you'll be
rye,
wrong.
an allocated rye. I would
I'm gonna say
guess.
$15.
Yeah, for a. Are we talking like a single pour?
Like a 1 ounce pour.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna guess probably $46.
An allocated rye.
Too low.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! I'm not even gonna guess.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't even want to depress myself.
Some of these
tonight.
places are
Are you sure you want to know?
sky is the limit.
'Cause I won't tell you if you don't want to know.
No, I want to know.
$95.
Oh,
95.
$95 an
How much?
ounce.
How much is a
You can go.
how much
get
is
a
Pappy's?
bottle of Bullet Rye?
I don't know, we
for
don't
like
get Pappy's.
36
Yeah, if they
bucks.
even
Yeah,
have
that is
Pappy's.
so Pappy's is one of those that's like not that good. The only reason
not.
that makes it so expensive
I've
is
heard.
they only release it in October.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well,
And so
guess
if you're lucky enough to get to be one of the first orderers, then you have Pappy's.
guess where
It's not that.
guess where Pappy's is made out of.
Where?
Buffalo Trace's facility.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
just
yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
Blanton's.
Just like
Sazerac
Eagle-
Rye.
Just say Eagle Rare.
Hey, hold
Bullet,
on though.
Bullet.
Hold on though, because Blanton's is probably one of the best bourbons that I've. Granted,
Yes.
it's not.
I'm just saying, Blanton's
but-
is actually the original single barrel bourbon.
Dude, I love. Have you ever had Blanton's, Kyle?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's so good. My brother got some for a as a groomsman gift for a wedding he was in, and he brought it to a New Year's Eve party, and it was so good.
Hold up.
How much is Johnny
Isn't
Walker
this
Blue
Common
Label?
Sense in beer?
Yeah, we're gonna have to change it, boys.
Common Sense in
bourbon.
whiskey.
Bourbon.
Join
Bourbon?
us next
Bourbon.
week on our new
How much?
podcast.
How much is Johnny Walker Blue Label there?
Johnny Walker Blue is, I think, $36 an ounce.
Gotcha. So just so you know,
You
that's
do
a,
get $1 off when you buy 2 ounces.
yeah, that is a. So that is
I
a.
hate you. Was that your idea?
No, that's just the system I got.
God, I hate that.
That's the
I hate
system I
Was,
inherited.
I hate that. Was that your
Yeah,
idea?
look, we got to make money and make the big bosses happy, okay?
Fair enough.
Make money. It's a
man.
$150 bottle.
I mean, if I'm gonna buy,
You're paying $36 an ounce for.
if I'm gonna buy 2 ounces and I get $1 off, I
Well,
suppose it's still a deal. If I
A
want
deal's
2
a deal's
ounces,
a deal. I mean, it may only be like 1% off.
Where
not
else
even,
are you gonna
but
get that steal, man?
yeah.
No,
Hey,
what-
I thought I figured it out with Olive Garden because I was buying a glass $10 glass of wine and it was delicious. That same bottle is $10 in the store, and
Yeah.
it's just like
So
oh my
with
God.
wine, so basically what they do is the cost of the bottle
yeah,
is the cost of a glass.
Yeah, that's
So after
exactly
one
how it
glass,
translated.
and so the reason for that too, I just want to kind of shed a little light on that too. For
Restaurant
wine.
manager.
I am thinking about starting a leadership podcast by myself.
Hey,
It's not working.
I was waiting for it.
Way to just max my audio out. Thank you for that.
The reason for that with wine, and wine specifically, is because wine goes bad really quickly.
right.
I could
So-
get that.
I
yeah.
get that. Once the
So
bottle's
the-
open, it's pretty much
Once the bottle's open, you have just about, I would say, depending on the wine, like the wine we have at work, we have about 24 hours with it.
yeah.
If after 24 hours, and we don't sell a lot of wine, we're like a tequila whiskey bar.
Okay.
If we don't sell a lot of wine, we got to dump that bottle just because, the quality just,
Yep.
degrades,
No, I get
so-
it.
Yeah.
I 100% get
So-
that.
wine goes bad very quickly, especially if you don't preserve it correctly. So,
right.
Yeah.
so that would be why with wine.
Well, I mean, this was great. We'll have to have you come on a couple more times. I
Yeah.
think we have a couple more things we can talk about with you, Caleb.
Sure.
So.
No, I think this is pretty terrible. I think you should never have this man back on.
Joey's just tired because we
Yeah.
got to go to the gym at 5 a.m. Well, 6 a.m.
No, yeah, this is like
Gonna see you
Kyle.
there tomorrow, Zach?
What?
Gonna see you there tomorrow?
Yeah, don't hold your breath, but yeah. No,
We'll show
no,
up before work.
yeah. No, seriously. Thank you very much for coming on, Caleb.
Thank you for having me.
This has been the first one where we really had a difference of opinion, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate that.
No,
So,
absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
but yeah, with a beer in hand and a air cheers, we can all confidently say that even though we had a difference of opinion, we can all still grab a beer together and still have another episode together. So that is a success for all of us
Absolutely.
in the room. So
Cheers to that.
again, thank you very much, and we will talk to everybody next time.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.